All right, welcome everybody. It is 7:02. I'd like to call the Boxborough Select Board meeting to order. It is Monday, March 2nd. If you care to, join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, so the first order of business is any comments from residents on non-agenda items. There's nobody here. We're very lonely. Nope. I see no hands. Nope. Okay. Next up, appointment, Planning Board Associate Member Than Stunts, and my guess is Alec is here to tell us all about it. I'm sorry, what?
Here you go, Kristen.
So we,
We have an amended agenda.
What's this?
oh, sorry.
Oh, you know what? I'd like to move the executive session to the end.
Okay.
Is that okay? Only because we've got Alec here. Is that all right? Okay, thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
we,
What?
Adam just left because it was going to be in the end. He was going to join Zoom,
Oh.
but
He'll join.
whatever.
Sorry. No, it just doesn't seem fair to go into executive session when we have all this other work to do and people here, so, okay. I mean, how does everyone feel?
No, didn't he just leave?
I know, but if he's not driven away, we can text him and say, come back. But
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't realize we were
That's
doing
right.
it first.
Keep this for the language for afterwards.
Okay, totally cool. All right, I apologize. Okay, let's appoint Than. Alec, you're on.
Awesome. So, as the board may remember, your longtime serving Associate Planning Board member, Janet Keating-Connolly, did tender her resignation a little later than this time last year. And the Planning Board has since had two candidates in the waiting. We were able to finally line our schedules up. Than Stunts and Mark Barbadoro came before the Planning Board. The Planning Board prepared a series of questions, and ultimately the board was split. There was a 3-2 majority in favor of Than Stunts. With that majority, the board then put him forward for a 3-year term, serving at the date that you ultimately make your appointment, if you also make the appointment. I'll note that this is a joint appointment, so you do need to take an itemized vote. This is not a simple just vote in favor of what the planning board did. You should take your own independent vote, and that vote count goes towards it to come to a majority.
Can I ask a question?
All right, give me a
on that,
little
Alec?
more, because I thought okay, give me a little more information.
I had a question on that. And I knew they had a split 3-2 vote, but then it looked like, at least according to Boxborough News, that they then voted for unanimously in favor.
So it was a split 3-2 vote on the candidate, and then a unanimous vote to put that candidate forward.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
Yep. And historically, when this board has appointed, and it has been several years since we last appointed an associate member. Janet was with the board for at least 4, if not 5 years. And she did fantastic work in that time. But
Yeah, we miss her, yeah.
Yeah, the last time that this was done, the boards took a vote together, and so there were effectively 10 votes in the room, and so that number is what ultimately constitutes your super majority vote. I don't know exactly the term to call it here, but to really level it out, if 2 of you were to vote in favor of Mark Barbadoro, then that would...
It'd still be
3
4
of you
and
were to
5.
vote for Mark Barbadoro,
Right.
that would neutralize the vote, and you would have a tie split.
And I guess my question is,
So, okay, go ahead, Bob.
do you have more? Because mine's gonna...
No, my question was that I'm going to need to understand the motions that you did. If we do indeed need to choose a candidate and then vote for a candidate, I need to understand what those motions are, because I only have a motion to appoint Than, because the way I understood it was where you unanimously appointed him. All we needed to do is kind of move it forward, because I've consistently said it's really up to the planning board. I understand statutorily, both boards have a say, but the select board wasn't, going to jam anybody down the planning board's throat. It's their decision, who they want to work with.
Yeah. So the board, if I remember the motions correctly, I have to go back in time.
Sorry, yeah.
No, it's okay.
Do you want to take a minute and pull it up in your phone or
It's
anything?
okay. I've already been buried in this book all day, so it's just a little separation. They took first a vote to recommend one candidate, and then the majorities lay where they did at that time, and then they made a recommendation, or they moved to recommend the candidate who had the majority for a 3-year term.
So in essence,
So
they moved him, right?
Right.
Yes.
Unanimously. In essence, they maybe it was like an initial vote and then like the final, I don't know.
Yes.
So maybe I'm, all right, anyway. So the associate member for the planning board, what rights does that one, do they vote, or how does that work?
Oh, that's a good idea, yeah. Explain
so
how.
As of right now, statutorily, an associate planning board member acts on special permits specifically. They're empowered under Mass General Law and then by your local bylaw, which sets up the ability for the town to have an associate member. There is a lot of expectation that associate members are going to have expanded roles in the future, the ability to act on all business that would typically come before planning board, but most notably, if someone has to recuse themselves or they're unable to attend a public hearing process, this member sits in mostly on special permits. That's because a special permit does require that supermajority, so it ensures a fairer public hearing process before any applicant. In the case of Boxborough, we're very inclusive with our associate member. The associate member attends all the meetings, acts as if they were a full-fledged member, and participates in most everything before the board. It was both a byproduct of Janet being so engaged and involved, but also my understanding is previous associate members have had a similar approach as well. It's really that extra person on the board who provides another layer of insight.
So they participate in the full meeting, and if the full board is there, they don't vote? The associate member would not
Yes.
vote?
Yes.
And if one member was missing, that associate member could vote in that case?
If
Not
they've
on
attended the
everything.
meetings, right?
Yes, if they've attended meeting, but not on everything. Under Mass General Law, they are only empowered to vote on those application public hearings. In some cases, you'll see towns will nominate the associate member to step up in case of site plan review as well, but the legislation is clear on special permits specifically.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So I don't actually think we can do this then. You have
I
to have
don't
a vote.
understand the process. Where-
What I heard him say is first we have to
Are you
move to
forcing-
recommend.
Are you forcing us to pick between two different people? Like,
So
I
what
don't
happens
understand.
is it's a joint appointment. So the select board and the planning board, last time we did this, held a joint meeting and then we voted. And we interviewed the candidates and we voted. And so we
Well,
still have to
haven't-
take that vote.
We haven't interviewed the candidates.
I
have we?
understand, no.
Okay.
We haven't interviewed the candidates, and then this is just an appointment. The agenda just says an appointment, so we can't actually take a vote to pick one.
Yes, we can. First we
No,
take,
that's
first
an
we
open
move
meeting
to
law
recommend
violation.
one of them.
No, that's not. That's not how this works. Like, that's an open meeting law violation. I would probably file it myself if we did this.
Why?
Because this is appointing a planning board member. We need to have deliberation, we're supposed to do the discussion, and then we're supposed to take a vote. And then the appointment, which, if that's all we were doing, that would be fine. But this is a joint, this
Okay.
is a joint
Well,
board.
that was why I asked the question in the beginning, that I wasn't really sure about the process and I didn't really understand. So why don't we table this? We will invite both candidates to come in, we'll go through the same process the planning board did, and we'll go from there. That's fine.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, that basically was, that was why I asked the initial question.
Okay, so that's, Wes, that's what you're basically saying, we've got to interview both candidates.
Well, I'm saying
we've
the
gotta
way that the
notice it
agenda is
differently.
pointed out.
I'm sorry, what, Tim?
We've got to notice it differently.
Yes, that's what I
Yeah.
was saying.
That's okay,
All
yeah,
right,
so we'll do
yeah,
that.
That's fine. Okay.
Yeah, all right, so why don't we put this on the agenda for the 23rd? We'll clarify the mechanics, make sure that we stay within the letters of the law, and we'll go from there.
Question, sorry.
Sure.
Wes, I'm trying to, if we notice it differently,
Yep.
like how are
So,
you
because, so
expecting?
this is a
Do
joint,
we have to actually interview?
we don't have to. We could just
So
sit here and talk about it ourselves. But we have to take our own, we would have to take our own vote
Okay.
for who we would pick as the associate member. And that would be that, and then we have the appointment of said person, if it is in fact Dan Stunts.
Okay.
So, because we can't appoint somebody until both boards have voted to pick somebody.
Okay. So our notice should be first to vote on a associate member?
Yep, so it would be the select board voting for an associate planning board member, and then afterwards, it would be an appointment.
Okay.
And the planning board is done at this point, because they've already voted.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and if I could, I do think there's value in moving forward, setting an actual policy for this. We had a procedure that we used the last time around when there was multiple candidates before the two boards, but it was never codified as an actual policy or policy. It was just the procedure that was followed at that time. We did this research back in the summertime when this first came about, and then schedules got disaligned. But I do think having some firm guidance going forward in the form of a select board policy agreed to with the planning board would be good for future planners and future boards.
Oh, sure. I mean, if we're going to do it, we may as well clarify everything and make sure it's clear moving forward. Okay. That works for me. So we will pick this up again on March 23rd. That's our next meeting, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is it? Or the 30th? No, the
I think
30th.
it's the
23rd.
23rd.
Somebody help
Yes,
me.
it's 23rd.
Okay, it is the 23rd. All right, I got to learn to trust my intuition more. All right, excellent. I see quite a few people here that are probably here to talk about town hall business hours, so I'd like to take that out of order and not make them wait. Oh, well, yeah, why don't we,
You can go for it.
are you okay with that?
Yeah, if you got members of the public, I can just.
Well,
take a
I
seat.
just see quite a few, and my guess is that's why they're here, is not for the 90 other things we're going to do first. You're all right with that?
Yeah, that's okay.
Thank you, sir, I appreciate that.
Ian's with the planning board. I trust him wholeheartedly, and I'm sure he's doing a great job.
You can go chat if you want. All right, so let's take 5D out of order. We have received several emails, 4 that I'm aware of, regarding town hall hours, how the decision was made, et cetera, et cetera. So first off, I appreciate the people that took the time to write the letters and to raise their concerns on behalf of the town hall employees. It's very appreciated. If there's anything that this board has, you know, what's the word? Striven, I don't know, tried to do over the last 3 years is to encourage communication. So at this point, however, I'm uncomfortable addressing it because we are now entering union negotiations. So I don't think it's appropriate for the select board at this point to take this up as a discussion point, and I think that we need to move forward with the process of unionizing, and we're happy to take input if anybody has anything they'd like to say tonight. I'm certainly happy to entertain, you know, various board members' opinions if you'd like to, but I do want to caution you that we'll be entering into negotiations, and I don't think it's appropriate for the select board to delve too deeply into this. What do y'all think?
I guess I'm willing to get more information on it is what it is, so that's where I feel right now.
Yeah, oh, I'm happy to, anybody who's here this evening that has something to say to the board, wants to raise their hand, absolutely, but I'm suggesting that we not deliberate, that we not vote, that we listen. If anybody does have any opinions that they want to express as individual members.
So what you're saying is that the new policy is in effect going to be locked into place until we complete union negotiations.
Yeah.
Right now, it's a management decision, but yes, you know.
So
when-
management could change it.
But we could, but I'd also prefer.
Well, not we. You said management
Well,
decision meeting.
well, we guide Mike. Mike's a strong administrator. We can certainly have that discussion, but like I said, I'm not inclined to really negotiate it at this point.
But we never talked about it here. We never negotiated it. It's not been.
We actually
did.
I'm sorry. What you're saying is the new policy needs to be the policy until we come to an agreement with the union.
Mm-hmm.
because we did discuss it. We never
We
voted.
discussed it several times.
We never
actually.
voted. I agree.
We
I
discussed
agree.
it once, but that's fine. But
It might have been meetings you weren't at, because I know we discussed it more than once, because it's been on Mike's
One that was
list.
like a main discussion. I thought
Yeah.
it went the other way.
Same
I don't
way.
think,
No, it
I don't
didn't
think,
go
I
that way.
don't, I,
Because even the people in the
it's either a
audience were
management
saying-
decision or it's a board decision, and it can't be both.
Because we've now entered into union negotiations, I'm not comfortable discussing it in an open forum like this until,
I'm asking to clarify, could
Okay.
management change the decision without the board input? Or are you saying the decision now needs to be locked into place?
I think I'd have to get
Because
town
we're in
council,
collective
I think
bargaining.
I'd have to ask town council that. I don't know. I don't have an answer for you.
I would like to.
Sure, that's fine.
But like, Sam, this might be a time for you to like express what you want to express.
If we can't discuss it, we can't discuss it.
I'm not saying
just
we can't. I
clarifying- I'm
said-
clarifying what Kristen is is saying.
I'm uncomfortable, people have asked us to take a vote, I'm uncomfortable heading down that path now that we're in union negotiations, because I feel that it tips our hand in terms of what may or may not be included in the union contract. I don't feel like it's appropriate. But I did invite any member that wants to express an opinion as an individual member to do so this evening if they'd like, and I've invited anybody in the public.
You don't want to tip your hand, but.
Okay,
but
and I've
I'm
invited
saying-
anyone in the public to
but
express
I'm
their
clarifying-
feelings.
I want to clarify I want to come to a meeting of the minds of what you think the status of the policy is, given that we're in a union negotiation.
I hadn't actually thought about that. So that's why I'm looking ill-prepared, because I haven't thought about it. I guess my assumption is that the policy would stay in place until we finish negotiations, and it may or may not be changed. I don't know. Right now, my understanding is the policy is that people who are currently working on, all right, let's back up. We did roll it out quickly and perhaps without as much communication as we should have. It should have been people who are already working on Fridays would need to take a turn being in the town hall for 4 hours. And I think it was, I don't remember, was it 6 people work on Friday right now?
It's been anywhere from 3 to 6.
Okay, well, no, my point was, when we rolled it out, we had said, all
You
right,
can't-
let's make it fair.
Maybe we discussed this at meetings when I wasn't here or was here, but you can't claim that these specifics were discussed.
No, what I'm
in
trying to
an
do is
open
go
meeting
back
at
in
all.
time a little bit and acknowledge how it rolled out. That where it stands now, so it was rolled out quickly. All town employees were told they had to come in and work on a Friday, because the idea was that it be shared, right? But the missing piece was that really only people who are already employed on Fridays, who are being paid to work on Friday, would take a turn being here and having it be open.
I think, Sam, what happened was, like, we did have this discussion a couple of times. I remember at least 2 times. But, like, we didn't discuss all the specific steps in depth, like, I mean, who it should entail, all those things, I agree. We did not discuss those the exact specifics. We pretty much said to, like, I mean, we expected town administrator to kind of, like, take care of that part. Like, maybe we should have been more clear. Yes, in hindsight, maybe we
I
should have
don't
been clear.
recall that.
You know,
So is it a management decision or is it a board decision?
To what?
the board
The
decision.
current policy, is it a board decision or a management decision?
The board, so it would be a board decision to say that we believe that, or I believe that, however you want to put it, that the town hall needs to be more accessible to our residents. We're a service-oriented institution.
The board has not
and-
made that decision.
Right, so we
The
turned
board has
that
not
to
made that
Mike.
decision.
We turned to Mike, and Priya and I met with Mike and said, Mike, we'd like, we've been talking about this was in your performance review, we've been talking about this for a couple of years, not just this year.
I've been on this board
And-
for 10 months.
Yep, and we've absolutely talked about
It
it
doesn't-
sitting here. And I understand that you and Wes are against it. I completely understand that.
I didn't say I'm against it.
But-
I said I've been on this board for 10 months, and so if you discuss this as a board before I was elected, I wasn't here.
You're unaware of it, sure. So we met with Mike and we said, okay, Mike, figure it out. You roll it out, you're management. So it's kind of both. We did not say this is how you have to do it. It was, Mike's a strong town administrator. He gets to decide how is it rolled out, who works on Fridays, what does that look like? We also talked about being open on evenings. And so part of that discussion was, should we try an evening or should we try Friday? And it was like, well, let's try Friday first and see how it goes, and then we could try an evening and see which the public responds to. So it is kind of,
Who had that discussion?
Priya and Mike and I had that discussion with him to say, how would you suggest
Right, so
that
when
we
you
do
say
this?
we, like, you're not talking about the board.
No,
Okay.
no.
But
We did not have that discussion.
But we did have a discussion about having the town hall being open on Fridays. We did have that
Or
part,
additional
but
hours.
like this
We had a conversation about the upsides and downsides and the operational needs.
means, yes.
I did not walk away from that meeting, and I was not in person. I was present virtually. I did not walk away from that thinking there was any resolution or next steps.
Okay,
I will
Duly
also
noted.
say that the majority of employees that joined town hall joined after we had Fridays closed.
mhm.
I don't know where this, I'm trying to understand what the status is and whose decision the status, whose decision is to keep the status.
And I guess my feeling is now that we've entered into union negotiations, it makes the most sense to keep it as it is. The majority of employees are not being asked to come in on Fridays. Mike, maybe you can explain how you're managing that. That might.
Sure. Starting on the second week of January, the intention was to start on the first week of January, but the way the holiday fell, we started on the second week of January, with bringing staff in on a rotating basis. And when I met with all the town hall staff, I said that this is going to be spread across equally, so that everyone that works in town hall will take their turn doing it. And that's what we've been doing it.
And the idea was that if when we were talking about it, it wasn't that we were asking people to do something extraordinary. We were saying, well, maybe if everyone's going to share in the duties, maybe instead you work from home on Tuesday, or maybe you pick another day. When we thought further about it, Mike and I talked again, the people who are here on Fridays should only be people who are already being paid on Fridays. And then the idea was also that there could be some cooperation among town hall. Again, same thing, hey, I'll come in this week and be there on Friday if you come in next week, and I'll work from home on next week. But the idea is that as people who are already being paid, it's not overtime, it's not additional hours, it's simply if you already work on Fridays, that part of those will be here. Now, we have the additional piece of some people contractually who do work from home on Fridays. In their contract, it says they can work from home on Fridays. So we have to work all of that out.
All of this is fine. None of it answers my question.
I was under the impression that the board was in favor of doing this.
I was under the impression that this was a probationary period. When this was rolled out, this was, I don't know, we'll do it for 3 months or 6 months or whatever. So now we're locking it in until for the pendency of the negotiation?
Well, hopefully that's going to happen quickly. Well, yeah, and you are right. The idea was let's try Friday, see how it works, and then let's try an evening and see how it works.
This is what I'm saying. Is it a management decision?
How it's rolled out is Mike's decision. How it's
so he could end it.
He could end it. But the idea was try Fridays, see how it goes, and then try an evening and see how it goes. And again, I'm just sensitive to the fact that now we're going into negotiations. It might not make sense to make any changes because I don't know how anybody feels about evening hours because it's really hard to quantify.
Well, why don't we ask?
We could. Yeah, and that would be a management decision for Mike to ask.
We didn't.
Absolutely.
Should we have?
But it's not just...
At the time,
it's not just like the employees, right, Sam? It's also
of course, it's not
like
just the employees. We could ask anybody. We could ask.
I will.
Like unless we like.
How many people were a part of this discussion?
Well, we all were.
We all.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about it.
We talked about the pros and cons in a meeting in September.
That's right.
That's the last I heard about it.
Okay, so we did talk about it.
Okay.
yeah.
That's
So-
fine. We can just leave it.
If I could add.
Please do.
So during this trial period, we've been tracking data. The planning department has been keeping that. And everybody who's worked in here has sent a report into Alec, and he's kept the data of how many people are served, what service they received, which department they received service from. It has been not overwhelming. And granted, when we first started, there wasn't a lot of announcement, but since then, we've posted we started out with the hours posted on town hall doors and the website, and then it's been carried in Boxborough News several times. So I think it's been well publicized. I don't think there's been, and again, it's only been a couple of months, but I don't think there's been, let me put it this way. We've averaged about 2 to 3 people coming in, actually getting service on Friday. Most of it has been stuff that could be attained at other times. I think I would be in favor of trying to shift this and see about evening hours for a while, because I think that if we're trying to provide greater service to the community, I think that may be better received by people who are working during the week if they can come in on an evening.
What about the employees? If we're saying that we're going to be an employer of choice, then how we're effectively just dictating and changing, like, I don't know anybody who was here when we were like working here at town hall. Like if my work told me I have to work evenings, I'd probably find another job.
Well, that's different though. You're not in like a customer service type of business, right? Like, I mean, here, town hall should be, I mean, we are a public entity. Public entity is supposed to be open, right, to the public. So we should be open. Again, that's just my opinion. And when you say 2 or 3 people, do we know how many show up on other days, Mike? So we don't know that part either. And so it's disingenuous for us to say, okay, only 2 or 3 people came on Friday when we really haven't looked at the other piece as well. So again, I don't want to get into too much of a discussion. I think we are, like we said, like we shouldn't, and then we are getting back into the same thing. But to me, it also talks about equity, right? Like it's equity and inclusion. There might be some people who can only do it on Fridays, and those people should have the access on Fridays, right? So, and I checked even all our surrounding towns, like almost 10, 11 towns that are surrounding are open on Fridays, if not full days, part of the days. And there are many of them are also open like evening hours, like you said, Mike, like 1 day a week on evening hours too. So I think it's not new for yes, there are a few people that were hired after like we started closing town hall on Fridays. But like before that, we did have, I mean, things change too, right? Like our operations can change and how the needs of the community can change. And while many things can be digitally accessed, not everybody is able to access things digitally, right? Like there might be people who would want to come and like there are certain permits, right? Certain forms, whatever that might be, that I think it should be accessible for them. To me, we are in customer service and it cannot happen like online. To me, that it should be available. If we are saying 5 days, and if that's what majority of the towns are doing, like why should our citizens not avail that same service?
Literally, the employee reaction to this was unionizing. So that's
Okay,
like
so
it's a really great
Wes,
idea.
that's not the only reason. The
That
bigger
was literally the reaction.
No, it wasn't. The bigger driver is they were told if we went to a B budget, they weren't getting raises like the unionized employees. That was the biggest driver. Are they unhappy about Friday
Do we have
hours? Yes,
employees?
but the majority
Should we
of
have
people
employee- should we
aren't.
hear from
Excuse me, hold off. Okay, the majority of employees aren't going to be affected by this because they don't work Fridays. It's not costing us more money. We're not paying people extra to be here on Fridays. It's people who are already working on Fridays, okay? Whether they're home or they're here. I don't consider it a hardship. But the real reason was that they felt they weren't going to get the same financial benefits that union employees are getting. So please don't say Friday is the reason they're unionizing.
That was the tipping point. was it
That's
not?
fine, but you said the reason was
No, I
Friday
said
hours.
in response to rolling out this plan, they unionized.
And I'm okay with that. If they feel like they're being ill-served by the select board and the personnel plan, then they should unionize, and we'll figure it all out, so that they feel that they're on equal footing with the rest of the town employees.
Then maybe we should also consider no longer saying that we're going to be an employer of choice, because
I find it fascinating that you think because we want the town hall open, we are not an employer of choice.
that's not what I'm saying.
You are saying that we should not be an
Yeah.
employer
I'm
of
saying
choice if we
literally
were open
your
on
employees
Fridays.
Unionize, and so that's like, literally, it does not make sense.
Sam, what did you have to say?
I think we ought not speak for the employees.
Yeah, we've all had private conversations with various people. I mean, different people come and talk about different things. And again, they're welcome to come here and talk to us. We're not a board that does not listen to our constituency. And I can tell you that I have had more people tell me that town hall should be more accessible than people have told me it shouldn't be. So, again, how do you quantify that?
I wish we had discussed it more as a board, and I wish that we had had a vote on it. And now that union negotiations have started, I'm disappointed to find out that we're not going to have a vote on it.
So
Well, that's-
you still think that we should have a vote, Sam?
I have asked like 3 times, is it a board decision or a management decision? I want to understand whose call this is. Are we locked into this policy now that we mentioned negotiations because we are part of the bargaining body? If Kristen said ask council, I'm fine with that. Let's go for it. But there's no clarity here for who's making
Could
this
it
call.
not be a collaborative one, Sam?
Yeah.
Like between, yeah.
I would love to have a collaborative process. It hasn't been that way so far, but I would love to have a collaborative process.
Okay, so why don't we get town council's opinion on whether we should be doing anything with this right now? And again, we'll bring it back on March 23rd. And now, does anybody who's attending virtually care to weigh in? I can't. Wendy?
Hello. I was watching on the other thing, and then somebody said they wanted town hall employees. So, as far as what Wes was saying, we did meet with Mike and the with the hours, and people were disenfranchised by the way that this was put together so quickly, and it did spark the union discussion, and then that union discussion became more. So it was the spark of the union discussion, but then it did become more.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Again, I don't disagree that we could have done it differently. All right, let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that, and we'll pick it up on the 23rd.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, any further discussion? Let's go back to review of planning board draft warrant articles for the 2026 annual town meeting.
Before we do that,
Sure.
Adam is online. Did Adam want to talk?
What,
He doesn't have his hand up.
what is he gonna talk about?
Oh, I thought Adam was going to talk.
No, when his turn, like, I mean, for reports and things like that, not.
Okay, oh, sorry. But, okay.
All right, review of planning board draft warrant articles. We'll start with planning board.
All right. Bear
Can
with
we
me, I
put
just
them
gotta
up on the screen?
Roll all my stuff out again.
I don't really. What's the book?
I've been doing historic research on annual town reports from 1961 to 1967.
That sounds fascinating. So they're 60 to 65 years old.
We have, here in Town Hall alone, we have reports that date back to the 1800s. So you can go real back in
Go
time
real
if you
deep.
want.
Okay, awesome.
All right. So, Kelly, has the order of the warrant changed or only the content for those 2 additional articles I provided language? The one at the end, okay. All right. Revisions to Article 4.2.2 to expand the maximum allowed size of an accessory dwelling unit by right. As this board will remember, on multiple occasions in the last 3 years, we've made revisions to our accessory dwelling unit bylaw. It used to be called the accessory apartment bylaw. We've since modified that to come into compliance with the most recent state act. The state's been rolling out a series of pro-housing articles, pro-housing laws that have expanded the by right capacity for housing stock in Massachusetts through the declared state of, the declared crisis that we're in. And the most recent round of that affected accessory dwelling units in particular, making them by right up to 900 square feet or half the size of the principal dwelling unit, or the primary dwelling unit. At the time that was rolled out, each community was given a bandwidth of about 9 months or so to adopt their own local law that would go onto the books and come into compliance. Otherwise, you risk the possibility that your zoning enforcement officer, in our case, the building commissioner, is enforcing an outdated law. We moved very quickly. Mark Barbadoro supported. The planning board offered a first draft. The planning board then picked that up, made tweaks and revisions, and ultimately landed at very parallel language to what the state had provided in their initial guidance and their regulations. We have since, as a team, come to the decision to expand the size of the by right accessory dwelling unit. I'll note that in my role as Director of Land Use, I have heard several complaints that 900 square feet just is enough. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. It's not providing enough square feet to make it economically feasible to do an accessory dwelling unit, or at least for those individuals that had come before the building commissioner. In one instance, we did have a resident who then went before the Zoning Board of Appeals. That resident had experience working with town government in the past, and they were a little more skilled than your standard lay person, and they maneuvered a different section that was allowed by special permit in the ag res district specifically. But the summary was the 900 square feet does not seem sufficient for the needs of Boxborough residents who are interested in doing this. As such, the board had a couple discussions with myself and the associate town planner. The associate town planner did a depth of research, reached out on our listservs, and actually was contacted by the Attorney General's office to help offer guidance of where they could find resources. And ultimately, the board has landed on 1,000 square feet as the number. I will say the public hearing is ongoing for this article. They have not recommended it in its current form. They're actually ongoing with a public hearing right now on a virtual meeting. So this number might change. The feedback we've received from other communities is that up to 1,200 square feet has been approved in some towns by right. But as of right now, the draft stands at 1,000 square feet. And to the best of my knowledge, it will stay at 1,000 square feet.
I'm fine with, okay. I understand it. Anybody, but that's my world. Any questions for Alec on this one? And remember, this is for point of information. We don't vote these, we don't recommend them, but we do need to understand them going to town meeting. All right, seeing nobody, next.
Kelly, can you roll back up for a second?
Oh, never mind.
No, okay, that's fine. I just want to make sure where the recommendation of the select board wasn't there, and it's not there, that's fine. Yep, you just got the planning and finance, that's fine. Thank you.
I have to say, I completely agree, just again, because it's my world, 900 square feet seemed just shy of the space that most people had to convert. And I don't know if it's the size of our housing or why, but it did seem that 900 was gonna be a problem, so.
Yeah, it's a complex equation, and for the developers, it comes down to the bottom line dollar. For the individual that's attempting to age in place and they're looking to rent it out as a second source of income, it comes down to a similar equation. But when you're facing other factors like potentially upgrading your septic system, that can be at times prohibitive. Nonetheless, towns have been given the flexibility, particularly by the Attorney General's office, to adopt regulations that are a little bit larger than 900 square feet. Several have taken advantage of that, and the board at this time looks to do the same.
Okay. All right, next, article next.
All right, so revisions to Article 9.2, revisions to a specialty food shop definition. So here in the town of Boxborough, we have two different classifications. We have a restaurant, which is exactly what you'd think of, and then we have a specialty food shop, which is a little more unique. It's something that's more local based, where the food is specifically prepared on site. The majority of goods are from the immediate region, they're local, so that really that local sourced style and flavor. This has been implemented on a couple of different occasions to bring food service here to Boxborough. And we were going through a process this past fall after the Economic Development Committee made an award to Thinking Flower, which is open today. Thinking Flower received an initial designation as a specialty food shop, but after realizing that alcohol was a service component of the business, the building commissioner did have to revise his original opinion. And ultimately, he found that service of alcohol was not included in the definition or the classification of a specialty food shop. At the time, the Economic Development Committee did discuss this, and I do imagine they're going to weigh in with their own opinion, probably a verbal report on town meeting floor. But in speaking with the building commissioner, revising the language in the definition was the most effective way to ensure that was captured, if that was in fact the opinion of the board and the town that they wanted that to be a service component. As such, Board Member Mark White brought forward this revision. He proposed a couple different tweaks to the language, and I will note the most recent version before the planning board that they're hearing right now at their public hearing has rearranged the language so it goes at the back end. You'll see the bold and italicized language there and/or beverages, alcoholic or otherwise, is now located at the end of the article, but has the same intent and effect, so that a specialty food shop would be able to serve beverages, specifically alcoholic beverages, if they chose.
And there's no language struck through?
No language struck through.
Alec, my only question is, and I'm not on the planning board, but my question is, where they get very specific, where they say, such as a cafe or bakery. What if we get a butcher? And he wants to sell his meat, and he wants to sell alcohol. Would we have to change this again?
For it.
You'd probably have to, well, that would probably require a really direct opinion to the building commissioner. I can't speak on his behalf. In my opinion as a planner, that's not how I would interpret it. Something like a butcher involves typically the slaughter or the carving of meat. That's not typically something I'd see at a cafe or bakery.
Are you thinking of opening a butcher shop?
Yes. No, my whole point was, I just didn't want to come to this again.
So you thought it was too confining?
Exactly. If it was just for, because.
Why don't we, I mean, honestly, like, you could suggest to the planning board. Maybe.
Exactly.
Good job,
But
Sam,
like,
good job.
you could strike the words such as a cafe or bakery. There's no need to like provide the examples in
Just
the actual
bakery.
legal.
I'm okay with
Yeah.
cafe.
Oh, there you go. A specialty food shop shall mean a retail establishment that prepares or sells,
It doesn't-
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
It
Raw
just-
meat.
To me, putting it. I mean, this is I have some experience in legislative drafting. When you put the such as, it
That's my only,
Limits
that's
and
my only,
confines.
I just
That-
don't want to.
so that's just our
I just don't
input.
want to visit this again.
And propose the amendment at town meeting.
Oh, God, no, we don't
No, I
do
don't want
planning
to
board
touch it.
amendments
No, I
on
don't.
town meeting.
If-
Oh,
if-
my
if they don't-
God.
If they don't want to change it, I'm fine with it. This
So,
is theirs.
I will note, part of my purpose being here tonight is to collect feedback. We're very much open to feedback. We're open to listening and perfecting these articles as best we can.
Yeah.
You are elected by your constituency in the same way the planning board is, so your feedback is valuable to the process.
Thank you. Well, I do know that when I was on the EDC, we went around and around, and Sam, we tried to list everything we could possibly think of. I don't think anyone brought up.
It's a reason why you don't try and do that. You just
Yeah.
try and
Well,
leave
we're
it
not
broad
attorneys, so
and
yeah.
just,
All right, well, that's our input then, is.
Thank you, Sam.
All right, revisions to Article 2.6, expansion of the purview of the town's design review bylaw. So the planning board over the last few years has received multiple applications of what I would characterize as a typical corrugated steel building. That has drawn some attention from board members that this might not be the aesthetic that Boxborough wants specifically on its main thoroughfare. Think about that 111 corridor.
So in other words, the DPW, because that's a Butler building.
I can't speak offhand, I can't
Oh.
picture it in my head, but.
Yes. Well, no, I just remember when Richie built it, it was a Butler building.
Yeah.
And that's where this kind of came from. Yeah.
But this bylaw in particular has been discussed on multiple occasions, is that the board has said they wished the design review board had more opportunity to speak to it. Currently, the design review board acts in the town center district and only at the call of the planning board otherwise. In this case, it would expand the authority to the business and the business 1 districts, which in their majority comprise 111. So this would mean that the design review board would be weighing in an administrative capacity to site plan review and special permit applications along that primary corridor. What that does is that empowers your design review board to give aesthetic feedback, and then empowers your zoning board of appeals or your planning board to make a decision in part on how those businesses comply with the design guidelines. Now, I'll say simultaneous to this work, and you'll remember back from our master plan annual update or annual report, we spoke in part to the need for revised design review guidelines. Myself and the chairperson have spoken on a couple different occasions to start scoping that out. I expect in the coming month, if not April, we'll be meeting with the design review board in full. And we have a grant application out right now to our regional councils of government to help empower them and help fund such a project. So that would allow them to look at those design guidelines and begin incorporating the B and the B1 district, as well as getting public feedback on what should those districts look like? What should be the structures we're seeing? What's the style of the buildings? What building materials, which is something that's been recently discussed. Even if we're unsuccessful with the grant, I do expect
It's happening again, the Matrix.
I do expect we'll be doing the project in-house at minimum, so I could certainly run the planning process, but I would have to rely on the design review board a little more for their professional expertise. I'm a planner, not an architect, not a landscape architect, not an engineer, but nonetheless, we have multiple architects, engineers, landscape architects in town that I would encourage to come out and help contribute to the process, because that way we're getting both the constituency and the public engagement as well. So this is really in two parts. The zoning bylaw sets the table for regulations that are soon to come, and then we'll draft those regulations, we'll prepare them, and we'll give Boxborough residents a better voice as to what their town should look like. I often say to the planning board and others in town, it's important for you via your regulations and your zoning bylaw to set a precedent of what you want your town to look like. Don't let the applicants dictate that. Tell them through your guidelines and through your bylaw what you want your town to be.
The planning board does their own design review process, though, without the design review board, right? Like, I mean, I've been watching enough planning board meetings that you kind of already do that as a planning board. So you looking for just another voice in the process?
So frankly, they're not empowered. The existing
But you
model,
write it into conditions.
the existing model through simple site plan review specifically is not empowering. Simple site plan review is a by right planning process. And so short of putting this regulation on the books, there's really no obligation for an applicant to comply with any design or aesthetic. When you do site plan review, your primary goal is public health and safety. And so without design review guidelines on the books and this empowering that as a part of the review process, there's no meat to it. There's no obligation on behalf of an applicant to make their project look the way you want your town to look.
So, again, I know enough to be dangerous. It seems that the last several applicants have been entreated to manage their landscaping to create a certain aesthetic up and down 111. And there are many, many, many discussions, and it seems to me that the planning board does already have this right. And then, so I guess I'm struggling with it, because back when the design review board was first put together for town center, I was against it. Because we're not a historical town. We're not Concord. Let's just admit it. We're not Concord. And I know that the overarching way back when was, well, we also don't want to be 2A. You know, we want to be Harvard. Well, that ship has sailed. We're never going to be Harvard. You know what I mean? Harvard zoned all that long ago before things were built. And Mass Ave, for all intents and purposes, is mostly built up. So way back when I was uncomfortable, because I'm very much in favor of property owner rights. If you fall within the zoning and you're building something that's appropriate use, I don't believe it's our job to tell you how to do it, what color it should be, or what materials are used. So I personally am not comfortable expanding that out of town center. I can accept it in town center because we are trying to create an environment, but to move that, and I'm just giving my opinion as one person, the rest of the board has to weigh in, but it seems to me the planning board is already doing this. Adding an extra layer of bureaucracy adds time to the application process. It adds expense to applicants. We're trying to encourage economic development, not dissuade it. So that's my opinion.
Can I ask a clarifying question, Kristen? But I was going to ask a similar question before you started.
Sure.
My initial question was, what's the opposition to this? What's the reason why we shouldn't do this? But I'm a little bit confused because it sounds like you're both saying we shouldn't expand the authority of the town to do this, but you're also saying the planning board already has the authority to do
What I
this.
have observed,
So are you,
yeah.
are you observing that the planning board has the power, but they don't use it that much? Or are you, like, I'm a little bit
Sure.
confused.
Again, I know enough to be dangerous. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm watching the applicants coming into town, and please know that, again, property owner rights and economic development and all
yeah,
that.
absolutely.
So I'm watching applicants come in, I'm watching the discussion, I'm watching the multiple meetings, and there's kind of an implication that, you know, as part of your conditions, these things must be done. And so I already feel like there's a lot of that going on, and it's very difficult to get through that process as it is. And if we add an extra layer of design review, and now you have to use this particular product, especially in an economic environment where we don't know what things are going to cost. So I'm afraid that and again, I don't know
But it's
how
like-
everything
but
is
it's
going to
like-
happen, but I'm just like, we're going to dissuade
and I don't
development.
disagree with you, but I'm just, so it's almost like, you know, so long as the planning board is using this power that they currently have judiciously as they seem to be, then we're okay. Is
Yeah,
that
that's
you're-
what I'm saying, is the planning board is kind of, I understand they're not going to the level of the design review board, I understand that, but there's enough discussion in trying to monitor how things look, and to some degree, I feel like that horse is already out of the barn. 111 is what it is, and between wetlands and, you know, what's already there, I just feel like it's too late. It's not gonna be effective. It's gonna be effective on a very small number of parcels, and then we are then dissuading additional economic development. You know, I watched an applicant throw his arms up in defeat because he felt so beaten up. And that's not what I wanna see as a select board person.
And I wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment. If you look at the length of our meetings, if you look
Oh, I
at
do.
the depth.
I feel
that-
sad for you.
If you look at the depth we have to go into our reviews, that's because you've got a board that is overburdened right now with the level of review. If you think about it in terms of, you know, we get a report from either the Board of Health or the health agent. Say he provides direct input on a well location. That's buttoned up, that's put away. The board incorporates that, it's done. Instead, when it comes to design review and thinking about the aesthetics of these sites, we spend an extra half hour to an hour just talking about that. Talking about expediting permitting, frankly, when this is rolled out correctly, that's exactly what it does. The design review board sits down and they do that thorough review in their 30 minutes to an hour with the applicant on a different night of the week. They do it earlier in the process so they can provide input to the planning board. So that the planning board themselves have to spend less time debating the aesthetics of the structure, and they can get down to the nitty-gritty public health and safety reasons that we're doing site plan review in the first place. It's, when done effectively, this is an expediter for economic development, because your proponent knows what they're walking into. They have the regulations that tell them, if I do X, Y, and Z, my structure is good to go. If they need to modify that or they need to do something slightly different, they submit a waiver or they comply in other ways. They do all that on the front end so that by the time they get to the planning board, they're already past that discussion. And so they can just focus on the square elements of site plan approval or special permit in the case of the zoning board of appeals.
Okay. Anybody else?
I just want to say, like, I mean, why are we adding more and more for any approval, right? Like, now they have to go in front of another board. They have to get appointment for that, like, go in front of them and then come to the planning board. I think if the planning board is already doing it, let them continue to do it. And if it should be, like, part of their overall process, which they have been doing, I guess. So I don't know. It just increases bureaucracy.
Well, what they're also doing is they're asking to increase the reach, because right now it's more landscaping, aesthetics and all that. If we move into the design review, it gets down to material. You may not, if you are gonna be here, your building must be made out of this, it must be this color. Like, we have, you know what I mean? And that's that added piece that I'm very uncomfortable with, is telling a landowner on a strip of land that, you know, on a street that's pretty much built out. Tell me what else is left to be built out. So you're really penalizing a very small group of people.
So what I'll say to that is, zoning isn't a 1 to 2 year project. Zoning is how you set the table for what you want your community to be. And yes, there may be several structures already along 111. If we do a build out analysis, I can give you an exact percentage, but those structures aren't forever. Many of those structures won't be here 100 years from now, 50 years from now, maybe even 10 or 20 years from now. As the Economic Development Committee is starting to prepare their concept for Village Center, this is an important part of determining what a Village Center is going to be for Boxborough. And so it might be hard to picture in the immediate future what this is going to do, what's it going to look like. But for the next generation who's going to want to live in Boxborough someday, you're setting the table for that. You're
So-
creating the community that they will someday be in.
But let me throw this out at you. If we start telling them what materials things have to be made of, et cetera, who's to know they're not better materials in the future? Who's to know that the material we mandate is still available 20 years from now? You know, so again, I personally can't support this. And I know I don't have a vote and I won't have a recommendation, but I just can't support expanding this any further than it is right now.
We can have a recommendation.
We can, I know. We have to decide if we want to do that. Yes, we can.
You told me just confirming, the planning board hearing for this is still open and they haven't voted on it?
That's correct. There's a chance they move the recommendation forward tonight. That's within their scope and ability to do so, but
Okay.
they're actively meeting in a public hearing right now.
Unless
what
we
I meant.
have like multiple businesses and we are like fighting to like see, oh, we have 10 businesses wanting and we'll pick one, right? It's not like we are in that position, so I
Yeah.
don't think that.
I think this is an interesting discussion. I'm interested to hear
Yeah.
how the planning board comes down, and I would say to Kristen, there's a difference between can't and won't.
Yeah, yeah. Anybody
fine.
else? Anybody in the public? I realize, I can't see hands anymore. Oh, we got one.
And I'm speaking for myself, FinCom has not discussed this, I think you come next week.
Yep.
In front of us, so this is my own observation. I'm a landowner in three different, if you include my house, cities or towns. And I'm with Kristen, landowner rights. If I wanna change something at my building, I don't wanna be told, here's an example. Campanelli was doing they were doing one of their, before the master plan, one of their newer buildings they were doing. And the planning board wanted it to be a brick building. And the developer said, but it's gonna be white because it is more environmentally sustainable, it's better building material, you know, we're trying to make these buildings environmentally friendly, yada, yada, yada. And the planning board, at least 2 members, were stuck on a brick building. And so if you have something like this, and it's more about the aesthetic than what the newest construction technology is, how does that work for the town that wants to be sustainable, right? We're a green community, we want these buildings to be sustainable. And how does it work for the landowner who might be willing to put out a few extra bucks for this sustainable building, because in the long run, it's gonna help him with his utilities. But the town's decided they want a brick building and want to let them. So that's my first comment. I agree with Kristen. I'm all about the town setting guidelines, but this to me is double dipping, because the chair of the design review board is also the chair of the planning board. So they get 2 bites at the apple. And I feel the same way about the members who are on the planning board and the ZBA. So don't get me wrong, I'm an equal opportunity, you know.
Apple biter?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's wrong on both boards. But so this would be 2 bites at the apple. So you have the, you know, a member of the planning board, sit on this design review board, make these suggestions, then get onto the planning board, who's doing site plan review, and have 2 votes on this one piece of property. It just seems, this is, to me, overreach. I think if you wanna do it in the village center, and down here, town center, if you wanna expand town center to be village center, that's different work, that's creating something new. But even that needs to be limited. I heard in the public hearing last week a lot about there needs to be more teeth behind the design review board. No, there doesn't. We have a planning board for that. That's elected. The design review board is appointed and has members of the planning board. So I personally am gonna vote against this, and I guess you'll find out next week how I feel about it on the finance committee, but I really think there's a lot to be taken. This is not as simple as we wanna make 111 look nice. There's some real regulatory issues that come into this, and it's not gonna help us bring business into town. All it will do is deter people. We already have businesses leaving town. This doesn't help bring businesses in, so. thank you.
Well, and quite frankly, one of the reasons the developer for Town Center 20 years ago backed out was design review. You know, it created an economic hardship and an already tenuous project, and it kind of put them over the edge. It was a reason to say, forget it, we can't do this. So yeah, I have concerns. Anybody else? Anybody from the public? On Zoom, I mean? All right, next.
Great. All right, revisions to 4.1.3, Article 5.2, and the zoning map to establish a gateway business district. So this is a big one. Bear with me.
This sounds exciting.
Yes, so there is a, well, in my opinion, all of it's exciting, but I'm a nerd for this stuff. That's why I do it for a living. If you look at the zoning map, which is about halfway down, there is a swath of land along 111 that is currently zoned industrial commercial. Industrial commercial, by your zoning, is your heaviest and most intense uses.
Can you make that bigger, Cal? Thank you.
Sorry?
And if I haven't already, I can
Oh, I asked
actually
Kelly if she
provide
could make it bigger because
Oh.
I wanted to get a better understanding.
Scroll back down. Keep going.
Oh, I
keep
know,
going.
when you do that, sometimes it
One more.
skips around. Sorry.
There you go. A little bit further.
Right there.
Perfect. Okay. So there's a portion of 111
Oh,
that's
it's
in
not
the...
letting you. All right, never mind, everybody. Sorry, everyone has to squint. It keeps bopping you back to page 1. Every time you try to make it bigger, it sends you back to page 1.
There you go.
So we're just gonna have
Yeah.
to suck it up. Okay.
After this meeting, I will provide it as a standalone
Thank
PDF.
you.
Apologies that I haven't done that already. So this...
Bob's got a pointer. Do you want a pointer so you can point where the IC is and exactly what you're talking about?
Sure.
I think it just make it easier for everybody.
Which color do I get?
Green.
Ooh, green.
Oh, that's going to double up on the already green map.
I thought that was a pointer. What's that?
Battery's dead.
Oh, the battery's down.
All right. So, for those of you following at home, you'll see two different shades of green on the map. You'll see this lighter green, which is represented as the IC district. That's the fourth down on this legend. What we're proposing is this dark green, which would be the B2 district. We've characterized this and described it as a gateway business district. When you think in terms of gateway business district, the gateway is the portion of land or the portion of your map that leads into whether it's a town center, a village center, a downtown. It's that gateway to Boxborough. What do you want people's impression as they're coming in to become? This, unlike design review, is about uses, dimensional regulations. It's the foundational elements of what comprises that portion of town. Board Member Guzzardi has proposed this with some feedback from the Economic Development Committee. He originally proposed it in last year's cycle, but ultimately chose to move forward or chose to delay the process and delay the proposal until this year. We're scheduled in the coming weeks to meet with business owners, with property owners, and get their direct input. But effectively what this would do, it would revise those uses and the dimensional regulations of this portion of land, making them more conducive to what Rich has characterized as you would see in a traditional gateway business district, starting to de-intensify the uses as you trend into your business and your town center district.
Okay.
Alec, can you tell me where 111 and like are we towards west?
See 495 on the far left?
Yeah, we
So-
are going towards west. then.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
okay, all right,
111 is if you look at the primary intersection, that's kind of square in there.
Is that Hill Road right there?
Yes, you have Hill Road, you have Burroughs Road,
Okay.
and then
Burroughs, okay, got
111 goes east to west there.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
So
it's-
if you're going from your left to your right, you're heading towards Middle Road.
Middle Road, yes.
So what was IC and now is proposed B2?
Anything in this dark
Dark
green
green.
shade is currently in the IC district and proposed to be part of the B2 district.
I didn't realize there was so much IC down Mass Ave.
Yep.
Okay, so then the new dark green is where Hafner's is, on the other side of Hill Road, on the south side of Hill Road, or west side of Hill Road, sorry.
Yep. So it's
No,
comprised
south
of...
side, you know what I mean.
Yeah, so I'm going to leave someone out, and my apologies. It's always hard when you have enough landowners. But
Yeah.
you have the gas station. You have
Yep.
an undeveloped parcel that used to have a barn on it. That
Yep.
barn has since come down for building reasons.
Yep.
You have the Taylor School. You have an undeveloped parcel that's mostly wet. And then you have a series of more industrial style uses. So for example, Linscog Balancing is there.
Yep.
There is a service center for auto. There is Elements. And then there is a landscape contractor on the end here.
Okay.
Okay. So it's gonna go right up next to, where the new fire station's going. You're gonna
That's
bring it
correct.
right up
It
next to the new fire
terminates at the
station.
parcel right prior to the
Okay.
one the town is currently considering at special town meeting.
Okay,
And Alex, the first parcel that you said, yeah, I think you even commented, to the right, down, no, to the right, and right there, the wetland. That's all wetland, so what, I
it's
mean.
not developable
No,
anyway.
not
yeah.
entirely wetland. There are dry portions of it, and as I often say, there are engineers far smarter than I that can come up with unique plans. So never discredit a piece of land just because it's got
That's where your
wetlands on
butcher
it.
shop can go.
Well, thank you. I can set up my leg repair too.
So,
Oh, that's right, leg repair, yeah.
So the planning board would approve if there is a developer that wants to develop on, like, with whatever the engineering would allow on that wetland?
So I can't speak to a,
No,
a
I'm just
speculative
like
application.
hypothetically asking.
No,
But
right.
there
Just
are
like we're putting this together, so.
so if you think of any district as it stands today, There are certain uses that are allowed by right, and there are certain uses that require a special permit. If I say by right, that includes site plan review. There is no inherent right to deny a site plan review just because we don't like the use. In fact, it's quite the opposite. So what this does is it sets the stage with the proposed zoning for what Rich has characterized as the uses the board would more like to see and the town would more like to see coming into the village center area. Now, this one is very much still open. There's a ton of feedback that is still being collected. As I said, we're doing the property owner meetings. In fact, we'll be doing door knocking tomorrow to make sure that both tenants and landowners are aware of this process, make sure they're fully engaged. Rich and I will be sitting in the Morris Hilberg room just next week, hearing the feedback, good, bad, or otherwise, and making sure that we're doing our best to give everyone a voice at the table. I don't expect this one's going to close in the public hearing tonight. I don't think a recommendation is going to come from it. But Rich is presenting a revised concept, and he was asked to kind of visualize what in his mind is a gateway business district. Earlier today, he provided just some documents to myself for that purpose, and I'm sure he has already presented them or midway through.
I mean, I like it. The only thing I would think would be if they could make sure that, like, for businesses to understand, right? I don't want them to get misled. Oh, these are available, so I can build. So we should probably, if there is wetland or anything involved, these are the type of things that we would want them to be building.
Oh, you mean like
the type of buildings that we would want and how it should be built, whatever. I don't know. That's up to the planning board.
And paired with design review guidelines, which I will note, design review, if this district goes forward, the intent would be to revise, or the intent as the board has described, would be to revise the previous article to include the B2 district. You would be giving them exactly that feedback. Here are the design guidelines that say this is what we would like to see in this district. And by revising the use table for a new district, the B2 district, you'll create a new column in the use table. You'll stipulate exactly what those uses would be.
So when are you going to come to Ag Res and tell me what color my house has to be? And better not say red, because I will kill somebody. I will see red.
Yeah, like those,
Okay, Sam, go ahead.
sorry,
No, you go.
did you have your,
No, go.
those, I don't know, 4 or 6 parcels on Burroughs,
Yeah, the one.
This one parcel?
No, as you go down.
Further down.
Further down, yeah, those ones kind of there that are, they're not abutters, but there's something in between. Those are residential?
Yes, those are in the Ag Res district, and I believe those are residential
And
uses.
who owns that, I guess you could call it a T-shaped parcel that is wide and then runs in between those residential parcels and the ones on 111? Is that town land?
I
don't see a
don't know off
T.
the
Help
top of
me
my
out.
head. I don't know.
You know what I'm talking, it's not a
T?
T, but it's like a, I don't have the laser
teacup?
pointer, but.
Yeah, I'll say I don't know.
This parcel, right,
This
that
parcel
I'm in
right here.
Not that the number is pointing to, but the one that the laser pointer.
Yeah, I do know that the town owns land in that area. I don't know offhand if that is a parcel we own or a private property owner owns. Most of my research has been done on the parcels themselves, not the immediate neighbors.
Okay, and when you say door knocking, those Burroughs Road,
It'll specifically,
landowners are part of that plan?
it'll be these landowners here in the proposed B2 district. So it'll specifically
So just
be the
these.
property
The
owners
ones in the
themselves.
B2.
Yes, in the
Just these
proposed
guys.
B2, yes.
Okay.
And I will note, the way the door knocking works, separate from just a mailing, which we're also doing. We're doing the mailing, we're doing the email, we're doing the door knocking. The door knocking makes sure you get the tenant, not just the landowner, because in many cases, it's being leased. For example, Elements, one of the larger property owners in here, isn't actually a property owner. They lease that land.
And Alec, I'm assuming part of the process of this is to get approval from the CONSCOM as well?
No, zoning is an exercise by the planning board, so if an application came before in the wetlands, then, or in the buffer zones, then yes, an application would require approval of the CONSCOM, but not the zoning itself.
Okay.
Hey, Sam, I just saw, I'm looking down the way, you pulled it up. Is it privately owned or is it ours?
It's privately.
Private.
It's
But
privately
it's all
owned.
wet.
It's all wet.
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah. I mean, that kind of,
Well,
it's kind of what I'm saying. No
well, that was-
water, no sewer, and wetlands. Really?
That's why I asked the first question.
Right.
I said, wait, isn't that all wet?
Yeah.
And
Like-
Alec, I appreciate your comment saying, I'm not an engineer, and an engineer might say, oh, we can backfill that.
And then CONSCOM will get a little upset.
Exactly.
But, no, I'm actually, I'm actually in favor of a gateway overlay district, as long as we're all realistic, you know, about what can and can't be done there. I know that we were all super excited on the west side of Hill Road there, super excited, because at one point, a 99 was talking about coming in. We were like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get a restaurant. You know, so I,
Best deal in town.
yeah, so anyway, I am actually fine personally with it.
Seriously.
It sends a message, but it's not realistic that very much is actually gonna happen on the majority of it.
Maria?
Can I ask a question on the piece of property that is at the intersection of Hill and Burroughs, you know, at that one intersection you pointed out? So on one side, that piece there, you've rezoned, but it's owned by the piece on the other side of the road.
And it's
Yeah.
where their septic system is too, isn't
And
it?
that's where their septic system is.
So it's
Yeah.
not
So
developable.
The one
So
we
that
had for-
property is owned, that's one big piece of
Sam,
property.
You might have
You
died.
can't have the building on the one side without the septic on the other. So wouldn't you wanna rezone both together since they're owned? I mean, you don't have to, I suppose, it just, you know
No,
what I mean?
so the way your zoning is written, there is
I can
no
see where
obligation to
it's all
rezone the utilities separately from the land or for,
This
to,
is the
to
1300,
carry
and
the
that's
zoning.
their
There
septic
doesn't
system.
need to be the continuity.
So it's-
What I'll note is that that's in the office park district, and the board, or I should say, board member Guzzardi, the proponent, has focused on the IC district. He has not yet speculated on the office park district.
I understand, it just, from the person who doesn't, not on the planning board, it doesn't make sense to me that you take my property that I own and you divide the uses on it.
To do different
One piece of property,
zoning.
I own both sides. The septic is on
No,
now
the
this
septic
deep
is
green
on the
side,
opposite
and my
side.
building's on the office park side, so.
Sorry,
It's a comment that doesn't make sense.
there's a pipe connecting the
Yes.
septic to the
Yes.
building that goes under
Yep,
Burroughs Road?
yep.
Yes, because the
yep.
fire station, we looked at this.
Oh,
and
you
it's
do have a
owned.
point, okay,
So,
yeah.
so
That's good.
that's the only, that's
Yeah.
just that one little parcel. As a building owner, I would be like, what are you doing? That's like my septic. And now we're in two different zones.
I didn't realize
know.
that.
I don't know if it makes
Yeah.
a difference. It just seems crazy.
Well, all right, I will say that my parents owned property where, and actually, most of Hill Road, where I live on Hill Road, the front is ag res, we all have a line, and the back is IC, because it borders 495. And a lot of that land is now owned by the town, so it's not unheard of. I guess my next question would be, though, is if these parcels are opened up to additional uses, for instance, 1,300, would their taxes change? Would their values change? If all of a sudden we say, your septic field could be a restaurant, and therefore it has more value, and we're gonna tax you more, and that would make me uncomfortable, if there were tax implications for existing property owners with existing uses. But in theory, I'm in favor of this.
Yeah, and if a property owner has that direct question, I do encourage them to speak to our assessing team. That's a question they can better answer. I'm not gonna speak to tax classification or
Oh,
any
I
of that.
understand. This is a rhetorical question. I wasn't expecting you to have an answer. It's the same as you saying you're not an engineer. But I just want to throw it out there. I would be uncomfortable if it had implications like that. And quite frankly, where office, I'm just going to throw this out there, where office parks are pretty much a thing of the past, I'd rather see 1,400 become something else. If you're really going to open us up to development, make 1,400 and all of that pink right there an opportunity for development beyond office parks, because office parks are a 1980s thing. And if we had design review that said that could only be an office park and this is what it looks like, it's out of style now. Just saying. I'm just gonna beat that horse until it's really, really, really dead. But just food for thought. You know, and from that economic development perspective, it's upland, it's got water, it's got capacity, like that's an opportunity for development right there, if you ask me.
What are these proposed?
Oh, I know,
BT
no, I'm just offering feedback. Alec is taking feedback.
I'm sure you covered this.
what's the-
I
what's the
just
existing
forget.
zoning
What's the
district?
existing zoning for these, for those two?
Industrial
BT?
commercial.
I see.
I
Both of
see,
them.
yeah.
So anything that's in the proposed B2 district
Is
is
currently
currently
IC,
industrial
okay.
commercial. If you're asking about 1,400 in particular, that's in the office park district.
Awesome, thank you.
So then I guess that's a question. If you're creating a gateway, why do you jump across the street? Like, I think that's a valid question. You know, the gateway jumps from one side of Mass Ave to another. Why?
Well, so too does your existing zoning. The IC jumped.
No, I
right
know,
across
but
the
if we're
street.
gonna change it, shouldn't a corridor be a corridor, not a hopscotch?
There has been discussion at the planning board hearing of should the zoning across the street, the existing B district, be considered under B2. There was also discussion,
Yeah.
should B2 just be business district? All of those things are very much open for discussion right now before the planning board.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah, you're hitting on a lot of the discussions they're having. Yeah.
Well, there you go. My background on ZBA and EDC. Okay, anything else on this one? Let's move on. Are there more?
I wouldn't.
Oh, sorry.
I wouldn't want to take weighing in on this off the table for us.
So you'd like to have the,
Yeah, I
we
agree.
have in the past, like MBTA, we weighed in
course,
because
of course,
it had
I'm-
neck, yeah. we
Yeah.
can.
I'm just,
Okay.
I would like to learn a lot more about this.
Sure.
And it's interesting and important and impactful, and I would just say, I wouldn't want to take weighing in off the table.
No, I'm hearing, would you want to write a recommendation, or would you want to vote, or would you want
I
both?
don't know yet. I
Okay.
want to learn more. I want to
Yeah.
make sure that, I'm saying out loud that I want to.
And Sam, please know, I mean, you noted earlier, you've been on the board for 10 months. We are allowed to vote, and it's more allowed to offer recommendations. It's just more past practice.
I
that
understand.
It's kind of like we don't typically, any other elected board, we
No,
feel like.
we got into this discussion with MBT.
Okay, so it's the same
communities. I thought it was,
Okay.
I totally get it, yep.
Okay, sounds good.
And if the board was gonna weigh in, you just wanna do it by your next meeting,
Sounds good.
right, on
Yeah.
any of these.
We have plenty of time until we go to print, Mike. You know how I feel about that.
I
That
do.
just irritates me when you say things like that, Mike.
I'm the one who's supposed to try to keep us on schedule.
I know, I hear you, But we have a town meeting in between. All right, we'll figure it out. Okay, next, plastic bag. Oh, God, are we gonna be conquered? We wanna be conquered again. What is this all about wanting to be conquered?
So, Board member Werner has proposed a plastic bag, polystyrene, and disposable plastics reduction bylaw. I'll note this is a general bylaw, not a zoning bylaw. The intent being to decrease the use across our retail and food establishments of single-use plastic products. Ultimately, what this does is it pushes those users to consider more sustainable options, usually compostable or outright recyclable materials, and it provides structure and framework by which we define the various things that in this case we would be moving away from, and it gives an exemption section. So if one of those users in the interim or throughout the process would need to go back to a less sustainable material, they have a path and a process to do it. I'll note Foxborough is a bit of a late adopter when it comes to these. Many of your surrounding communities have already adopted such a bylaw.
This bylaw?
Such a bylaw. I can't say this one
Oh,
outright
yeah, but
specifically.
close enough, but close
Yes.
enough.
I do know that board member Werner borrowed this from another community. I can't remember it offhand, but it was one of your immediate neighbors. And ultimately, something like this has already come before the state legislature on multiple occasions. In fact, most recently, it's been proposed by Senator Comerford and Senator Eldridge, your local Senate. So this one, frankly, I'm surprised this one's not on the books already. Many of your surrounding communities have already done this. Boxborough has now proposed it through its planning board. As I noted, this is a general bylaw, doesn't require a public hearing of the planning board, but it's very much in the purview of the select board in that regard, where it is a general bylaw. So I do encourage you to provide feedback on this one. I expect multiple boards and committees will as well.
Sounds good. Okay. Now, please know, as the former chair of the recycling committee, I am all for protecting natural resources. I think my struggle is the limited knowledge I have on this topic, just based on my own interest, is that the compostable, the paper and all that actually uses more resources to create. They don't break down the way we think they do, and they're more expensive. So I'm gonna have to do a lot more research on my own on this. And we also have limited businesses that would even be impacted. We don't have grocery stores, we don't have a Walmart or a Target or anything like that. So I guess I'm doing this. It's going to be very limited. We have limited fast food. I know that craft food already uses compostable everything. Yeah, so I'm kind of like, all right, I hear what you're saying. You know, should it be on the books? It appears to be best for the environment, but I'd like to understand if it truly does have an impact. That's all.
Yeah, and to that end,
I'm not
too-
against it. I just need more information.
Yeah, to that end too, when you propose a bylaw like this, a lot of times the focal point is on restaurants. They're often the ones that get focused on, especially in a town like Boxborough, where you don't have a very large retail presence. You do
Right.
have some restaurants, but if you think about it in terms of what the board is trying to encourage, We know that the taxpayers want more restaurants in town. By putting this on the books now, it helps ensure that you can say to those taxpayers, we are going to encourage restaurants. And when you bring that legislation to town meeting, you can say, we'll be encouraging more restaurants that will come on the books and comply with this. They'll be using the compostable and the best sustainable practices.
Not really seeing how that's a traction, but okay. I understand it's a component of it, but I actually don't see the correlation. Thank you, though. Any other thoughts?
No,
Yeah, because, okay.
this is gonna get ugly.
There'll be lots of discussion on that one, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming you'll get sustainability's weigh in and all that good
I
stuff.
do anticipate they'll weigh in
Yeah.
on this one, yes.
So again, where I'm hearing Mike say we only have 2 more weeks to do this with the town meeting in the middle, are you going to have time to gather all of that input? Because people have, I mean, boards and commissions have to have meetings. So if they haven't already had the opportunity to do that, we might need to put that off for
So-
next, maybe the special in the fall or something.
Yeah, so some of the, and that's certainly an option for any of these bylaws. The planning board, in their own volition, might choose to move something to fall town meeting. What I'll also note is many of our boards and committees are perfectly comfortable delivering a verbal recommendation on the floor of town meeting too, if they feel they need more time to understand it and consider it.
I hear what you're saying, but we also, when we move in that direction, it's usually because we are still deliberating and need more time, not that we weren't given enough time in the beginning. Because I really do feel if you haven't, have you already approached all of the relevant boards and commissions to ask for their input, or not yet?
I can't speak to whether Chairperson Werner.
When did you do that? 2 weeks ago, so they had a month. All right, just something to think about. Okay. I guess I personally feel like if they haven't had time to, if they get back to you and say, we don't have an opinion, that's fine. But if they're saying, you haven't given us enough time, we want to give a verbal on town meeting floor, you're not giving the public time to consider it, and to me, that's not a valid reason to go verbal, personally. If these are boards and commissions that meet once a month, that's not fair. And it's not fair to the voters. So I'm going to suggest that this be pushed to the fall.
Alec,
Yes?
what's next?
Okay. Just making a note for myself.
Kelly, did anybody that you reached out to actually respond to
We
you?
pushed to the fall.
Yeah, yeah.
They usually don't.
So do we even know if they saw it? If it was it an email, a phone call?
They all see it.
They see it, but they don't bother to respond. Okay.
Who are we
Yeah.
talking
Well, how do you
about?
know they're seeing it? Do you have read receipts?
Other boards and commissions.
Oh,
Okay, then
Yeah.
you don't know if they saw it.
sustainability.
Because I know
should
I
be
don't see half of
definitely
my emails.
involved.
No, but Kelly skipped one.
Yeah.
It's because I was asking her a question about if 2 weeks ago she sent emails, I asked if any of those boards of commissions, chairs, or otherwise had responded. She said nobody has responded, and I know that probably means they didn't see it.
This is on the bag ban.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and again, I'm not against it. I'm just saying, let's make sure we have all the relevant parties weigh in and have a chance to have discussions, not,
I also, sorry. to interrupt you.
what's
I
that?
also-
Okay, cool.
I also tell the staff, I also email like town hall staff
Mhm.
that support these boards to make sure that that's on their radar for future agendas.
Okay.
So,
I just want to make sure that they're truly getting the opportunity. So that's all, and have time to think about it and weigh in and give a written recommendation, not a last-minute verbal.
Yes.
Somebody's hand is up?
Liz.
Liz, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. What's going on?
I just wanted to on this particular subject, we are discussing it and voting on it, voting a recommendation at our meeting
Oh, good.
on Wednesday. So both the plastic bag and the anticoagulant rodenticides.
And which committee, Liz?
Sorry, Conscom.
Thank you. I know you wear different hats, so I'm like, wait a minute, which
Yeah,
one?
sorry about that,
That's
right.
okay, that's all right.
Conservation
Okay,
Commission.
good to know. Thank you.
Okay. Back to the zoning bylaws, revisions to Article 6.1.6, reduced
wait.
parking.
You skipped the anticoagulant.
Oh, you
rodenticides.
skipped the mouse one.
This is what I was saying to Kelly.
Yeah, I was just going off of what's on the screen.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Didn't
okay.
we already approve this?
We approved it for public land. This is for.
Yeah, Sam, what did we approve this for, Sam?
We approved this for public land, for town-owned land.
Oh, this is now.
What
Oh.
needs to be approved at
You've
town
seen
meeting
it.
is a request for a home rule petition. I'll let Alec,
But what we approved was just for the town users.
For our.
Okay.
Yeah, so previously, the select board has approved a policy by which you have banned the use of this anticoagulant, this type of rodenticide, and various types of rodenticides that fall under this chemical compound. You've banned them on public buildings and publicly owned parcels. This is a home rule petition that would extend that to a townwide basis. There's been recent momentum building towards this as a method of removing this chemical from the ecosystem. And I say the ecosystem not just based on what we as people use, but the greater ecosystem as well. What happens is we use this to treat rodent problems that we have in our household or in our businesses, and it gets back into the system. And unfortunately, we're seeing harmful effects had by the various predators in the species. Early returns on this is that this may actually be a more effective form of rodent management is by simple predator-prey relationship, and that we may have become too dependent on chemicals like this. We've even seen it most recently in the approval of the special permit for Campanelli. They were willing to agree to an effective ban with some flexibility for a massive outbreak, that they would bring a professional in who would weigh in and whether this must be used to make a treatment. This would bring a similar set of policies back to the town-wide basis. So it includes both an emergency waiver, so if we ever did see a mass outbreak of rodents in, say, a restaurant or
colony or
something,
something,
there
yeah.
would be flexibility to treat that in the need. But as I said, early returns are that this method, taking these out and going for natural methods, whether it's other typical trap systems or simply allowing predator and prey relationship to exist as it is, it's been more effective in many cases.
So my only question is, I understand before, we were talking about town-owned property, which is, keep it simple, industrial use. It was and a business is gonna bring in a professional to do this. We're talking about, I think what you're suggesting is the homeowner. So a homeowner is gonna bring in a professional to do they're not gonna be able to set their own mouse traps anymore?
So
they
really
can't
where
use
this
decon.
comes about is when people are hiring their,
Most of
the term escapes me right now.
I'll say for Alec, just real quick, these products aren't available for retail sale. They're only allowed to be used by registered commercial applicators of pesticides.
So the homeowner, so this is, in a
So
sense.
the homeowner's gonna go to Agway or go to Ace, they're not gonna be able to buy these products. These are only products that are able to be used by.
But
So
if you
so in a
use-
sense, this is already in place.
No, so
No,
let's
'cause
say
if
you.
if you call.
Any
sorry,
pest control
you call.
company, yeah.
So if you hire a pest control company, or an exterminator was the term I was looking for. If you hire them, they're going to bring in their own applicators to use in the system. When they do that, if they choose to use these chemicals, that has then been tracked back to deaths up the predator's food chain.
Oh, okay.
This
Okay.
would limit those options they have available to them, except in cases of severe need and emergency. The waiver process still exists, but it would help get these out of the system.
So the homeowner can't get it. The only way the homeowner could get it is if the homeowner calls in a professional, and if we adopt this, the professional says, oh, Boxborough, I can't bring in the strong stuff, I gotta use the other stuff.
They would have to use an alternative method or propose an alternative plan.
Okay, got it.
All right, so I just want to let you guys know, I had a listing that had a severe mouse problem, and I bought the electric ones, you put batteries in, and it zaps them really fast. And if you don't mind emptying yourself, I think it's the most humane way to do it. I bought 8 of them, if anyone wants to borrow some. But at any rate, no, they don't even get to the peanut butter, that's how fast they're zapped. They don't suffer. I didn't want them to suffer.
Okay.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
I'll lend them out, I have 8.
Alec, did they have public hearing on this? Because I know, like, I mean, at least in my neighborhood, I've seen like multiple of them use exterminators, like pest control.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of our residents do use them. So I think we need to have a robust public hearing on this.
So I'll note, where this is a home rule petition and not a zoning bylaw, there is not a public hearing requirement from the planning board to do this.
What
The planning board has promulgated this.
is that?
The conscom.
No, the planning board
Planning board.
has promulgated this regulation.
Okay.
Yep. The planning board holds public
It'll get a
hearings.
legislative hearing
Yes.
Yeah, in town.
and needs to pass both the House and the Senate and be signed by the governor, yeah.
I mean, I hate to say, I'm all for it. Have you ever watched a mouse suffer? It's awful. It's awful.
So Sam, to your point though,
It makes me
I don't wanna
sad.
see
Stop
the-
laughing at me.
Sam,
the
if we put this on the books, the state could overrule us.
It's actually not even the state could overrule us, it's that the state could ignore us entirely. And that's
probably
the
what
way
they're
that
gonna
home
do.
rule- That's, honestly, that's probably the way this is gonna happen. They'll either change the law and ban it statewide, or the status quo will persist. They're not gonna just like adopt a bunch of homes.
Is that because of lobbyists, Sam? Like the
It's
chemical
because,
companies?
it's because the
or-
Pesticide Act has a preemption clause in it that
Yeah.
says we don't want local regulation of pesticides.
Wow.
Does it send any
But
sort
there's
of a message?
there's
though?
33 other cities and towns that have home rule petitions on this, and,
So we'd be number
there's-
34?
well, there's gonna be a wave at the annual town meetings this spring,
Yeah.
so.
I say we go for it then. You know, it sends a message anyway.
Right, I mean,
I
right.
think we should have
And it
public
helps,
hearing.
I think
Do
it
you
helps
think we should have a
with,
hearing?
I think it helps
Yes.
with the statewide,
Well, town meeting is a hearing.
Well, then we should do everything. We should never have public hearing. Come on now.
Well, no, but I mean, what are you going to get out of a hearing on this, Priya?
At least we'll get people. So what do we get out of a hearing for anything then, for that matter?
Well, you're gathering public input.
Yeah, so I think do that. Let's do that.
Tell me more. Why? What do you need?
Because I do
are you
know-
in favor or are we against
I'm not,
it?
like, to me, it won't matter. Like, I mean, like, maybe I could find, if I'm using an exterminator, I could find someone that would be using something not of these chemicals, but I don't know how many people have that option. Like, what if they say, we won't service your area, but like, or pay me extra $100 to service, right? Like,
Yep.
so it's like, just like we talked about cost for everything, we have to take that into consideration. To me, I think we should have.
Okay.
who's
Well,
the
as someone,
select board, or
No,
the planning board, or someone else?
I don't know
Like,
whoever
who's
is
we?
bringing this
Planning
up
board.
should have, if it's
What's
the
the-
planning
I
board.
mean, I'll
they
tell
should-
you, as the CONSCOM liaison, this was discussed at the CONSCOM, I don't know if it was a open to public hearing, but it was certainly an agenda item a number of
Yeah,
times for
yeah, but
discussion.
like,
And did the CONSCOM ever decide anything on this?
Liz, I think is Liz still here? This was voted on, right?
I think we were the ones who recommended to the select board that you adopt a townwide policy banning the use of these chemicals.
Okay.
So, but yeah, we will be voting on this particular, I don't know why it came through the planning board, but we would be, we'll be voting on this also on Wednesday. And I'm sure we'll be in favor of it.
Okay.
well, it's funny you say that because I was wondering why it wasn't board. I was wondering why planning board was bringing.
Yeah,
this,
I
not
don't
Board of
know. I
Health
guess
or Conscom
it was-
or somebody else.
Yeah, maybe
But I'm glad you
Conscom
are.
dropped the ball, actually, on this one. We should have just kept moving forward, but probably Alec is he's the common denominator, so he kept it moving, but for the
In
planning
this
board.
regard, a planning board member just beat everyone to the race.
I love it. Okay. Well, I mean, are you open to having a public hearing? I know
I'm-
you don't have to. But
I'm wholeheartedly supportive of whatever public engagement we can do, whatever that method is. I'm always cautious using the term public hearing because there are very specific implications that come with that legally, and certain things just simply aren't appropriate for a public hearing. However, I'm always willing to get creative. The notes I've made for myself here are no public hearing, ? What can we do instead?
What about tomorrow's pre-town meeting sort of setup? We certainly
that's what the
could.
fire station
Might
would
be a little late to get new stuff
Add that in?
put together for
All
that,
right.
since I have to be there. And
well, you know what? You're going to have
Only
a
a few
pre.
I can pass around a little petition.
You're going to have a pre-town meeting. You'll have one for May, right? Are you going to do one
That's
for May?
correct. We will
Okay,
do
so
one for May.
that could be part of
Yep.
that. You
Yep.
know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, yeah. Okay.
Whatever. It's
All right.
it doesn't affect. It won't affect me. I can
Right.
tell you that.
Right.
I just know a lot of people who use, so that's why I'm just
Yeah.
being cautious. If people use exterminators,
Mm-hmm.
then I don't know, like, how it's gonna impact them.
Well,
You
again,
don't
for
want
that,
people to be surprised.
right. Well, I know for that house I was talking about, the reason I did it myself is because I did call an exterminator to find out all of the options. And you can do traps, you can do all these other things, and the traps grossed me out, which is why I found the electric ones and did it myself. So there are affordable ways to manage it.
The truth is that the best way to do it is to eliminate food source and close off access. So if you ask your pest control company to close the holes and find the food sources, then you're gonna eliminate most of the problem anyway. What this is going for is the grocery stores and restaurants that have the open dumpsters behind them with the rat poison right next to it, and they're just getting the rats in, and then they go out and they get eaten. So you know, there are many ways to address the issue.
Okay.
This isn't the one.
All right, sounds good. Okay, is there another one?
We're in the home stretch.
How many more do you have?
We're in the home stretch.
Okay.
Yep. So revisions to Article 6.1.6, reduced parking requirements. So many communities are going in this direction. We're finding that the previous parking calculations, especially post-COVID, just don't match what the needs are for a commercial sector anymore. So think, for example, you have an office park building. That office building is probably staffed by in-person and remote employees now. Many private sector companies have gone to a hybrid model, if not an outright remote model. I think most famously was LL Bean had their own problems with the headquarters space. What we found most recently is when processing the Campanelli application, the minimum parking requirements of one space per 250 square feet of gross floor area was more than double what they would actually need in practicality. And so in that application where we had the ability to, in the instance, reduce the requirement, we brought that to one space per 500 square feet of gross floor area. That better met their needs and reduced the total paved surfaces. So ultimately what this does is it reduces the obligation of a property owner and an applicant to actually pave a surface and create a parking area, reduces their cost, and helps advance a greater ratio of open space percentage. This is one of probably many uses that could use a reduction, but this is where you can usually see an immediate return on investment.
And this is for, I know that you gave the example of an office park, but this would be as applicable to a retail establishment as well?
So no, this does not go to retail. So if you read this table, this is one row of a quite lengthy table. So the uses on the left-hand side: business and professional offices, office buildings, governmental uses, philanthropic, repair shop, etc., all the way down to the end of that list. All of those are currently subject to a regulation of providing a minimum of one space per 250. So those uses specifically would now have their required minimum cut in half.
Just those?
Yes, just those.
I like it.
Everything you said makes sense to me. Any other questions or comments? Okay.
All right, last one. We've got another general bylaw before you. This is a proposed scenic road bylaw. The town has already, back in 1975, designated scenic roads of Boxborough. What we did is we adopted a section under Mass General Law. We designated what those sections were, and we put in place what is Mass General Law requirements, that if you're going to alter a scenic way, that means stone walls, removal of trees within the scenic way itself, think about that portion that the town has jurisdiction over, then you have to come before the planning board and ask for permission. Unfortunately, our existing system has no teeth. It has no enforceability to it. And I have seen uptick, and I've actually experienced a situation where a property owner was having a tree removed right within the public way where there should have been a public hearing, there should have been outreach. What this does is it formalizes our process in the form of a full general bylaw. It takes out the speculation, and for myself and the team that has to enforce this, it gives us clear guidelines on how that's done, and it makes it a more enforceable regulation.
Are you adding any roads to the scenic bylaw?
No, there are no changes to the designated roads.
Do you have a list of the roads here?
There is a separate list. I can forward that along for you.
Okay.
We keep that curated and set it
It's
aside.
here.
I would say,
Oh, my apologies. It is there at the bottom of page 1.
There you go.
it is.
Yes. So that list remains unchanged.
I didn't know only parts of certain streets. All right, well, neither here nor there. I'll look at this later. Okay, thank you. I didn't know if you were all right, so what this does is it gives you, so you haven't really told us what the teeth are. You just said it gives you teeth. What teeth does it give you?
The purpose has all the teeth in there.
Yes, so if you read toward the back end of
If you read
it,
the purpose.
I can't read it.
if you read towards the back, let me jump to the section. Section 7, there is a typical fine schedule, but it would also give us the opportunity to go for injunctive relief. So for example, if someone is simply not responding to the fine schedule, say a utility provider is removing several trees along a right-of-way over the course of a week, they don't respond to it, we can then file for injunctive relief to put an immediate cease and desist on it.
Okay.
Is there a definition of the right of way? For the homeowner to understand?
I have to go back and review this one.
And the reason I ask.
Maria
Here's
asked if there's a
microphone.
definition for the right of way. You're the only one here, you could probably just take
Yeah,
the
you
mic
take
and
the mic with
sit
you.
down with it.
It's your microphone,
So,
Maria.
under section 3, there are a variety of definitions, both right-of-way maintenance, public road right-of-way are defined in this case. So if you flip to page 2, right there, 3.3 and 3.4, we do provide definitions for both the maintenance and the public road right-of-way.
So when you say it provides that definition,
Mhm.
shall mean the total land area laid out and accepted by the town as a public way.
Mhm.
How do I know what that is? That's a homeowner.
Yeah. So what we typically do in the planning world when we generate a regulation like this, we'll also generate maps that go with it. 1975, that was a totally different process. Nowadays, I got my fancy computer program, which actually just got better in the last couple months.
Actually, it has,
at less
yeah.
a cost to the taxpayer. But we will generate a new map to go with it.
Okay, so let's say I have a tree that's on my side of the stone wall.
Mhm.
Could that still be in the right of way for the town?
Possibly. What we typically recommend is if you have a question on this, come in and ask. Come ask us, we'll come out, we'll help you evaluate whether
But
there
you're not
is-
allowed to cut your tree down anyway in the scenic right away, in the scenic road without permission. So it's kind of a moot point, that
No, I
question.
don't- Is that true? Is there currently a tree bylaw for the scenic way?
I wasn't allowed to cut
Because you
trees.
have adopted scenic ways,
Yeah.
that is governed under Mass General Law. This then replicates that in a local format by giving greater definition. So
So if
yes,
I-
today, if you wanted to remove a tree that's in the scenic way, in the right of way, that would be disallowed without first getting approval from the planning board or approval from the tree warden if he deems it to be a dead or dying tree.
Okay, so I, again, personally speaking, have a problem with this, just the tree part. Because I've been on your meeting when there has been someone who's had a pine tree at the end of their driveway, within the right of way, and they were told by some tree guy that this should come down, it's gonna land on your garage if it falls out of the ground, it's a tall pine tree, they don't have a great root system, you see pine trees go down all the time. Went to the planning board, and the planning board said no. So, I don't think $300 a day is appropriate, because you're telling people, because you say just come to the planning board, it's just not that easy. Planning board doesn't exactly always play nice in the sandbox with residents who come in front of them for things like this. So that would be a concern as a resident.
A concern, how, Maria?
I have a tree in my yard that is dying.
Yep.
I now need to go in front of the planning board, or I need to have Ed come out to my house. Maybe it's not a big deal for me, because I know Ed, I understand the process. Maybe it is a big deal for the people who live 3 houses down and don't understand why they can't take the dead tree in their yard that might be in the right of way. Why they can't take that tree down.
So-
And they don't know the right of way, because it's not, how do I know the right of way? Because it says shall be deemed the right of way. It needs to be clearer, because there's a punitive part of this.
That, I was to say, your point is the
That's my
$300 a day. Your point is the $300 a day isn't fair.
Right.
That's
because
what you're trying to say.
It's not clear enough to the resident, and there's a possibility that I'm taking a tree down. I don't really understand, because let's face it, we're all in this minutia. We all understand all of who to call. I know who to call. I call Ed if I need a tree taken down. Not everyone understands that, and it's $300 a day. It is punitive, and it just doesn't feel right. I don't want people clear cutting along a scenic road, and I live on a scenic road. That said, at the last ice storm, Picnic Street was down 5 days with no electricity because somebody told the electric company, you can't cut the trees and you can't limb up these trees. And so all of our trees, or all of our lines were down in the street, pulled out of all the houses, because when we went to Littleton Electric post-storm, they said, well, it's a scenic byway, we were told we couldn't trim the trees. So that hasn't happened since then. It just needs to be clear for people, so that they don't end up with a $300 fine because they thought it's on my side of the stone wall. I'm assuming this is okay because it's a dead tree. I didn't know I needed to have DPW guy and planning board involved.
And what about if I have to like fix my septic and if there's a tree on the way,
Well, then-
No, that's fair too, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Sometimes you might have to.
Is it the responsibility of the company taking down the tree?
Mm-hmm. And the landowner, both.
Landowner,
Both.
Right? I mean,
it's both.
The company's supposed to help with permitting.
Yeah, so I would think doing something like this, if we were to bring this onto the books, I think very reasonable expectations would be that we would do recurring outreach to the Littleton Electric, being the primary utility provider, frequent postings at town hall, especially coming out of the winter season, and education back out to the community. I think all of these bylaws, when you bring them forward, especially something like this, where you are introducing a fine schedule, it's important that we do that education. So this is another instance where I have made a note for myself, how do we avoid these? The enforcement should always be the worst case scenario. So what do we do to make sure that that doesn't need to be used?
So it's not just education, it's also being more clear in like what is allowed and what is not. Like, perfect example, I know like few houses down the road where they had to take a tree to help with like fixing their septic system.
Mhm.
So, because it was put before the house was built, or like when they were building the house, now they had to take it down. So what if that's the problem, right? Like, and if it's part of the, like what Maria was saying, if it's part of the right of way, then how are they gonna fix that part? Like, maybe the tree is not a problem, but we still have to take it down to reach access.
Yeah, so in that instance, they would come before the planning board, they would explain why there is no other alternative.
But like, we need to have some, maybe those additional ones, like, because sometimes it's easier if you have some of those scenarios listed out clearly.
So you're looking for greater definition for what
Yes.
is a reasonable, or what is a good cause reason to remove a tree or
Exactly.
alter a scenic way.
Yes, yeah.
Well, and maybe even make them exceptions, or just,
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah,
Well, I don't want to give them exceptions. I like what Alex said better.
right, like, I
What
mean,
is a
if you
good
have to
cause
really.
reason
Yeah,
to
what is a good
alter a
cause
scenic way?
reason?
Yeah, and those reasons would be the reason why you would do it. You would be
yeah.
allowed to do it.
I'm okay with exceptions as long as they're clear. Like, if it's
Yeah.
for the installation of a septic system, you don't have a choice, you know?
Yeah.
I guess my thing too is, the only other thing is, how long does it take to get these approvals? Like, I'm thinking about the tree that fell on the house on Depot Road. You know, that people have been talking about for quite a while, and that it did lift up and crush a garage. You know, I'm thinking about a septic system that could be backing up into a house. How long would it take to get this approval to prevent bad things happening?
Yeah, so for a permit type like this, we typically see a 21 to 30-day turnaround from
Yeah.
application to getting before the
But
board and doing the public
Okay.
hearing. There are requirements for us to publicly notice this. That's governed by Mass General Law. So we have to implement, we have to get out there. But these aren't like site plan approval or special permit. These are come in, tell us the need, present to us the materials you have.
You actually
A-
gave
as
me a
someone-
bigger reason to be in favor of exceptions. 21 to 30 days is a long time if your septic system has failed.
Yeah.
Just saying.
This is the planning board article?
Yes, the planning board has proposed it as a general bylaw.
Do they
I
have
will also note that
they have an
under
open
Mass.
hearing on this one too?
Hmm?
They have an open hearing on this one too?
No, this is a general bylaw.
Okay.
Yep. I will note, this one, I will note, the planning board under Mass General Law is also the enforcement authority for this. They are the designated, group that must manage this.
Excuse me.
I guess this would warrant a public hearing too. Again, it's,
It did not,
well, I mean, I would think like with the planning board, a lot of planning board stuff should be in the public hearing realm. And I don't understand how it's like all, okay, we'll pass out information.
not at the pre-town meeting. This was
No.
like because you're putting together a bylaw.
Yeah.
Whether it's a zoning bylaw or a general bylaw that's gonna affect people, and there is that $300 fine. So you can't just say, you come to town meeting and you make it sound like, oh, this is fine, don't worry about it, just come in front of it. There needs to be public input. There needs to be the concern of the public. You have enough people here that have expressed some concern. But you're saying there's no public input because there's no public hearing for this.
So are you suggesting that a strategy might be to actually send a public hearing notice to every property owner who would be affected by this on the streets that were listed? Because that's really the only way to make sure everybody knows this is happening. I'm just, it's a strategy. Yeah, you can. Of course you can. No, we can't,
That's
but the
what I'm
planning
saying.
board could.
Right.
So again,
Oh, I mean we by the town,
Yes.
the big
Yeah.
you.
I am cautious when we employ the word public hearing, but one of the
Why?
takeaways I'm
Why?
hearing, because public hearings are very specific processes,
Yeah,
but what I'm hearing is there are individuals in town, on this board, elsewhere in town, that feel the existing system doesn't provide enough opportunity for public input.
Correct.
And so regardless of whether it's one of these articles or future articles, my wheels are already spinning. What can we do differently in the future so that every bylaw that's promulgated, not just the zoning bylaws, every bylaw is given greater attention to the public and greater opportunity for input?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, I would also argue that if you did notify homeowners of these things, I'm talking about scenic bylaw. If you did notify, you send it out, they open the mail, they don't open the mail. We can't control that. But if and when they cut a tree down that they're not supposed to, at least you can say, we tried to tell you. You know what I mean? So from a liability perspective, I see that as another layer of protection for the town. So, okay, any more?
That is all of the planning board proposed articles.
Any other input for Alec before he escapes? Anybody on Zoom? I don't see any hands. All right, thank you for coming
Are we
in.
gonna do the CPC articles?
Oh, yeah, we probably should. That's a great idea. Do you need to get to the other meeting? You want to see how they're doing? Because it's either that or you got to come back on the 23rd. Your choice.
Nothing's burning down yet.
Okay. So, yeah, if you don't mind, Sam, you want to,
here.
Kelly, can you jump to the CPC? All right, before we do this, I want to throw this out. It is 5 of 9. We have, like, in my head, I had thought we would get through all of our articles tonight, but what I'm going to suggest is that we put a time limit on it, and we get as much work as we can get done in X amount of time, because we also have an executive session that will probably take at least 15 minutes. So what time do you all want to be out of here? And don't say now. I'm looking for some input here.
10 o'clock.
You want to be out by 10 o'clock?
I'm more, well, if we can avoid hauling Alec back here in 3 weeks.
Oh, no, I want to do
think we should
CPC.
prioritize that.
No, I want to do anything that Alec has to weigh in on. That just makes sense. It's efficient. But what I mean is when we get done with Alec, how much more time do we want to spend getting our warrant articles done? Because this is what's going to happen. We have a meeting on the 23rd. If we don't finish everything on the 23rd, we'll have to have a meeting on the 30th. So something to think about is, would you rather have 3 meetings to work on warrant articles, or at the next meeting, we're going to power through? And then for tonight, why don't we plan on ending at 10 o'clock?
Fine by me.
Does that work? All right, so let's see how much we can get done by 9:45, and then we'll head to executive session and be out by 10. All right, so we're gonna do CPC?
Yes.
There's like, what, 5 or 6 of them?
Stop turning pages.
6.
Okay,
6.
all right. Okay, let's start with this one then. Who's gonna take the lead on it, Sam or Alec?
Well, Madam Chairperson, do you want us to go item by item and
I think we can
run
do it the
through
way we
them?
just did through the planning
That's
board
what I
ones,
think
right?
too, exactly
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
way, yeah.
All right, I'll overshot it.
Thank you.
All right, so we have
And
our.
call me Kristen, I don't like being called madam.
My apologies, Kristen.
Thank you.
We have our standard CPC report, the establishment of the reserves. That's done every year, and it's dictated in part by what you do with your individual applications. The money that's left over then gets dolled out to individual reserve funds. The first article put forward, which there is 2 placeholders for, is an open space contribution to the Conservation Trust Fund. This is an annual contribution of $10,000, but this year the Conservation Commission has put forward a $25,000 proposal. This is due in large part to an uptick we've seen in grants that are becoming available, to movement that's happening at the state level. Currently, before us is the Eco One Stop for Growth. You've heard of the Community One Stop for Growth. We've used that multiple times. We now have the Eco One Stop for Growth. In fact, I'll be putting an application in later this month to start paying for your open space and recreation plan, which will be kicking off on January 1st.
Kelly, can you scroll down so we can read more of the summary,
Yep.
or all of the summary?
So you're actually going to go
Thanks.
Right,
one
perfect.
more article.
What's that?
Yep.
There you go. Yep. Perfect. And so what you see here is the 10,000. So it was brought to the attention of the CPC chair midway through the CPC public hearing that there were individuals interested in seeing just a $10,000 contribution. The CONSCOM has gone back to the drawing board and they've reaffirmed their vote. They would like to proceed with a $25,000 contribution. What's been highlighted as part of that is that the open space and rec plan is coming due. In the past, the town has used the Conservation Trust to pay for the open space and rec plan. It's one of the powers afforded to them under Massachusetts general law, and that being for both conservation trusts, trust funds, as well as conservation commissions themselves, them being the authority that's required to prepare this plan. What I'll note is I did in-depth research after your Capital Saturday, where there was initially questions on this. What I found is that the past 2 open space and recreation plans have been paid for out of the Conservation Trust. Prior to that, the town did the work themselves. They did not hire consultants to do the work. MAPC did it in 2015. That was paid for in part through Conservation Trust funds, with MAPC offsetting some of that cost from their regional grant. And your most recent plan, which I walked into at the very tail end, was paid for entirely out of the Conservation Trust with no grant dollars offsetting.
How is the Conservation Trust seated? Where does that money come from?
The Conservation Trust fund comes from whatever contribution you put into it. So you put
The
into
town
it
or individual people?
the town.
The town.
The town. They do have their other revenue sources that come from applications, but that is separate from the trust fund. We are in the habit of seeding it every year. And the purpose of that conservation fund is broadly defined as anything allowed under Mass General Law, which is anything from land acquisition, land assessment, and as it clearly states in the law itself, the preparation of an open space and passive recreation plan, or as we call it, open space and recreation plans.
And right now, CPA, you can see I don't even look at my tax bill, 1%? What's
Yes,
our?
we have a 1%.
We have a 1%. Okay. What's everybody's thoughts? What's your thoughts, Sam?
I don't really understand why this is being knocked down to $10,000. This was approved by the Conservation Commission and the CPA at the $25,000 for the OSRP. Town staff's made a compelling case in my mind to fund this work, which I will mention is not limited to the OSRP, but has other uses to it. Out of the Conservation Trust Fund, and of course it's an appropriate use of CPA, and I would like to see this warrant article restored to the amount of funding the Conservation Commission has voted it for unanimously.
Yes.
Unanimously.
So the CPC, who knocked it down to 10?
So there's 2 articles. There's the $10,000 and there's I'm just gonna go to the microphone.
Why don't you just
Just
break-
hold it in your
Yeah,
lap,
go
for
sit-
God's
Go
sake.
sit down.
There's 2 articles. If you scroll down, there's the
No, I know
Yeah,
there
yeah,
are. I know there are.
And CPC set both up and approved both, because on Capital Saturday, there was disagreement as to which one we would fund which way, whether we did the open space on a warrant article. You remember that conversation?
No, I
on
do,
Capital
I do, I
Saturday?
do.
So
Because,
CPC sent them both up and said, you guys figure it out.
CPC said in case the select board decides to fund the OSRP through a
Right, yeah.
warrant article, we would then recommend only
Exactly,
funding the
right,
Conservation
so
Trust at
we were
10,000.
not in agreement. I will say, as you're doing this, the Finance Committee unanimously recommended the $10,000 and a warrant article.
Was it unanimous?
It was unanimous.
a warrant
I'm
article
sorry,
using
you know
free
what?
cash?
It was not unanimous. There was one person, Joe felt that until he was absolutely sure there was a second warrant article, just a standalone warrant article for the open space plan, he was, I don't know if he abstained, he may have abstained.
Okay.
Is it typical for the Finance Committee to be knocking down these
We didn't
kinds of
knock anything down. We
CPA
had the
warrant
option of
articles?
2 articles coming up, and we voted a recommendation to do it, and you should have gotten an email to this effect from Tony.
So
I
maybe,
am just-
so maybe the select board needs to choose one, and then the finance committee can vote on
And then we
one.
can either vote to approve it or not. That would mean that would come off the consent agenda.
But I feel like having a vote, I mean, the CPC did what it did because obviously there was a little bit of.
Angst?
Well,
There
no,
was-
just,
there was-
there wasn't
it was
clear
not
which
agreement.
direction, like, we didn't vote at Capitol Saturday,
Yeah.
it wasn't totally obvious what was gonna happen.
There was disagreement,
But-
actually, this is the right way to do it, right, from CPC, that way it doesn't, it's done from their part. Here it is,
Right,
the best
right,
way
right,
to
but
go.
but to hear the rationale from Joe or from the finance committee being, well, I don't know what the rest of the articles in play are gonna be, it seems,
No, that
it
was
seems
Joe's
that the.
rationale. Our rationale for voting 10,000 is that the week before we had the rec com in, they were talking about the revolving funds, and Rajon was there, I believe, or Mike. And there was a concern about the number of revolving funds. And
Is this a revolving fund or a trust fund?
this is a trust fund, but it is off the books fund, right? It gets funded, and there's no, there was an issue around transparency for these kind of not, the revolving funds, the trust funds, how many of these funds are out there? So there was concern from the FinCom, and that's our job, that there's, $40,000 in this account, from what I believe Hunwa said that night, it was around $40,000, plus another $25,000. And this was originally set up for a very specific purpose in town. Gary went through that purpose again, and it was really set up. Now, whether or not it can be used through Mass General Law, because it's under jurisdiction, the understanding that we got was this was set up for the CONSCOM to be able to do testing and engineering and whatever. If a piece of land comes up mid-cycle, and we want to get the testing to see if we need to go to a special town meeting. Let's say a land chapter comes up, or whatever it is. And so we went with that. That was
Okay.
the vote again for the 10,000. That was why we affirmed the 10,000. Joe's vote was, I need to make sure this is getting funded. So if there's another article, I'm okay with the 10,000. If there's not a standalone article, I'm not okay. So it wasn't, I don't know. It was very specific. If there's another article for the Open Space and Recreation Fund as a standalone article, then I'll vote for the 10,000. And if not, then I can't vote to put forward the 10,000. That
What-
was what Joe said.
Why, sorry, so what is it that the Conservation Trust Fund is supposedly funding under this that the Finance Committee feels is inappropriate to be funded?
The Open Space and Recreation Plan should be, in the opinion of the members who voted, it should be a standalone article in the warrant. And it
But
should be
why?
funded out of free cash, because it doesn't just affect the Conservation Trust, it affects RecCom and AgCom. It's an across the town land use
It's a,
report. It's not, and it should not, or the concern is, again, the concern is the money going into the trust fund, and the trust fund being used for this when the initial, I wasn't here for the initial trust fund being set up. My understanding is.
yeah, it was 70 years ago, but I'm pretty sure that we know 70 years ago.
I understand. I'm just, what's the matter? All this time it hasn't been on?
No, back there.
Oh, okay.
I had to adjust something.
Repeat everything you just
I
said.
am not repeating what I just said.
Okay, can I back you all up for a second? So first of all, $10,000 isn't enough to do anything anymore. So what I need to understand is from what I heard, there is a fund somewhere that has accrued $40,000.
I think.
The
You-
Conservation
The
Trust.
Conservation Trust has $40,000, and what FinCom is saying is that you don't want to put more money into that.
No, we want to put the 10,000, that gives it 50,000 to the CONSCOM to do whatever engineering and all of that. What we're saying
Why
is.
should it come from free cash, though, and not CPC funds?
It could have come
Or
out of.
CBA funds.
So, what, the grant? I mean, the
10,000.
open, the 10,000 should come out of CPC funds to go into the Conservation Trust Fund to do what they've always done with it, okay?
And that's what this article is asking for.
That's what this article's asking. But the Conservation Commission went forward for a $25,000 deposit into that account instead, right? So that they could fund the open space and recreation plan.
To be clear, the Open Space and Recreation Plan was only one justification for the increase. Candidly, beyond just what's listed in here, you have landowners that have passed, that will be passing in the coming years.
That was my next question, is we have
And
several
we-
large parcels coming up. We need the money.
We need to be prepared if this
Yeah.
town wants to have a voice at
I
that
just
table
don't,
when it
I
happens.
still don't understand why the Conservation Trust Fund can't fund the development of a plan that's consistent with our open space and recreation goals, because the word recreation appears in it? Like-
Because the feeling is that this is not just a conservation, this is not that we don't want this open space and recreation plan. We just want it funded through an article on a warrant for the full amount, and it would probably be funded out of free cash, and that the trust fund be used, because if we take the 25,000, we put it in, that's $60,000. If we get a grant, it's about 30,000, Alec? The grant, you were talking about if you can get a grant for this, maybe
No, so
half of
what we're
it?
seeking, we're seeking for grants to pay for everything. As
Okay.
is our typical approach. Planning documents, to the best of our ability, will never be paid for by taxpayer dollars, or at least at the lowest level possible. And so our commitment is that we will seek grants, not just from the state, but from our regional councils of government, who I anticipate will be preparing this plan.
So then the problem becomes, we were told the 25,000 was for me it would, if I was sitting at the table Tuesday night. The problem is that we went from 5,000 to 10,000. If the Conservation Commission wanted 25,000 to go into that because land's coming up and we need more money, that's a different conversation. We were told it's for the open space and recreation plan.
No, the
So
Conservation
that's how
Commission
that
very
came to
clearly
us.
said at the public hearing process that it was for a variety of reasons. I do have to say.
So I did go to the public hearing process. My understanding as it came to us is that it was, and then the question is, why do you need 25,000? You have 40,000 in there. There needs to be some accountability for these funds, right? All of them, not just Conservation Trust. All the revolving funds. There's no accountability for how the money's being spent. So we need to start looking at that. And that came up this year. This bubbled up this year for FinCom, and this just happened to come up at the same time. There is a concern, if we do it on a warrant, it's clear, it's transparent for the entire, an article for everyone to see. This makes it a little more difficult.
I don't see how
We're
this
paying-
isn't transparent.
Sam, I'm just saying that's, what we do is money. What we want is transparency in the money. This is not the only fund in town. We have several revolving funds.
I know, but I'm
How
talking
would-
about, I'm talking about this fund.
I
How would it be
understand,
more
but we're-
transparent? Help me understand that FinCom's concerned that there's no transparency, because there is accountability, there's accounting that can be reviewed.
None that we've seen, so that's,
Is it more a
starting to-
reporting issue then?
So that's what we talked about at our meeting around the revolving funds, is that we're gonna want to put some type of procedures in place to get reporting back, because as budgets get tighter, it makes it more difficult to put money, there's money, there's $100,000 going in and out of the RecCom's revolving fund. I'm sure it's all fine, but we'd like to see that as we're doing budgeting, to better understand all these other accounts that are out there. It
Okay.
just,
So
so
I-
the neatest way we saw to do this is just do an article for the open space and recreation, and if Conscom needs more than $10,000, then that should have been for what that purpose was. And we understand the purpose to have been different, so that's just, if there's a concern, you should have gotten an email from Tony. He said he was gonna email you,
He
and I
did, I
think,
just don't,
okay.
I don't remember the details well enough to
So,
speak to it.
if
No,
there's a
Tony did send
concern,
an email.
I can come to the, I know that Alec is coming to FinCom, and he can certainly express the
Okay.
concern, and we can change it.
Okay.
Our vote is for the 10,000. That does not mean that you can't put the $25,000 article in.
Right,
You're
well,
the
okay,
select
'cause,
board.
Liz, I want to get to you in 1 second, I promise, because what I
Okay.
see are two different things. One is, what do we need, knowing that there are several large parcels coming our way that we'd like the opportunity to pursue? So that's one question for me, is how much money do we need? And then there's the accountability piece that the FinCom is looking at. Those are distinct to me. So limiting it to $10,000 and making it come out of free cash, to me, is not the issue.
We're not limiting it to 10,000 and having it come out of free cash.
That's what you just said. You want the $10,000 to come out of free cash.
10,000 out of CPC to go into the trust fund, and we would put a separate article for the full cost of the open space and recreation plan, and only use what we need once we get the grants, and that would be funded. So we would do a $60,000 article for the open space and recreation plan. And if we got a $30,000 grant, we would only use 30,000 of it, and it would be funded through free cash. But the 10,000,
Which is what we're talking about right
yeah,
now.
but it's one or the other. The whole point is there's
Okay.
two articles. That 10,000, we think should go into the Conservation Trust Fund. That is in there for engineering and to look at pieces of property, and that's always been, and so we're very comfortable with that. We're not comfortable with the 25,000.
If I could, I need to jump in front of something that was just said. I would never recommend that this town put forward a $60,000 warrant article. By doing that, you put on the books that we have the funding immediately available to us, and it kills my position in a grant application. The most I would ever ask you for is the highest anticipated value I would need in a grant match. When I go to the Conservation Commission later this month and I ask them for the matching funds that I need for my application this month, it will be up to $15,000. And then I will go back to the regional councils of government and I will explain to them, our conservation trust is not an unlimited fund. The very things we will be planning for in this document are going to need these funds. And so my ask to the regional council will be to swoop in and usurp that $15,000 with their own regional funding. We've built a great relationship, and I am quite confident we will have success with it.
And
Right,
so
let me-
if it's 15,000, it's 15,000.
Let me let Liz
60,000
weigh
is
in.
what has been floated for the cost of the plan.
Okay.
That's the whole point.
Let me let Liz see if you could, shed some light, Liz.
Well, no, I just want to address a couple of things. In terms of accountability, I think with every CPC application that we put forward, we provide a complete listing of every item and every expense line that shows you where we are, that gives you our balance. So legal fees, title searches, surveying, whatever it was, it's all listed every time we come, every time we put together an application for for CPC funding. So, I mean, I feel like that is definitely accountability and transparency right there. Secondly, I'm just wondering, the Conscom is requesting 25,000. I think we put together a rationale that, as Alec has said, includes funding the open space plan, which, as he also has said, has been funded out of that account for the last 2 cycles. So this isn't new. We're not breaking new territory here. For the past, since 2015, we have been funding the OSRP through the Conservation Trust Fund and taking advantage of using, CPC funds instead of dipping into free cash. But I also wonder, if we have requested 25,000, and that, I would think that unless there's something really wrong, how do we not have our own, warrant article? How do we? I guess I'm struggling with, our request is 25,000. We're willing to go to the town to see, and we think we can make a case for that. We've made the case with CPC, and I'm just wondering, why we're now talking about 10,000.
So
Sam, I'm going to turn it back to you. What's your recommendation as
So I would
liaison,
like
Sam?
to see, I agree with Liz. I appreciate what Maria's saying about getting a handle on a lot of these other funds. I think there's a lot of, you've done
Could I also say we're restricted? We can
Yeah.
only use our trust fund for expenses
I
that
think-
would
I wanna
qualify
say-
So wait,
for.
can I just be clear with
funding.
something? We're not saying that anything's been done with the trust fund that is not legal, not the way it's supposed to be. It's just, Liz, that it just happened to bubble up at the same time as a conversation about all the revolving funds, and then all of a sudden, it was on our radar this year.
Right, so I
let's
am
be
hearing,
clear about
and
that.
I'm sort of saying what Kristen's saying, I'm hearing 2 different things. I'm saying all of this stuff is bubbling up, but you're also saying this stuff is inappropriate to be funded from the Conservation Trust Fund because there's rec interests involved as well in the planning. So I'm hearing 2 different arguments. The first one, I think, is not an argument to knock the funding down from 25,000 to 10,000. The first is an argument to do something else, to check on the fun to get reporting to, whatever. The second argument is an argument to knock it down from 25,000 to 10,000, and that argument I don't agree with.
So
And I think we've past practice has suggests that this is totally appropriate. I think if you look at the state law and the bylaw that sets up the Conservation Commission, the Conservation Trust Fund, you'll see plenty of references to recreation and open space being joint interests of the Conservation Commission and the Conservation Trust Fund, and I think that this is a perfectly appropriate thing to do. I would like to see this, I would like to see the select board recommend the article at $25,000.
One
and
article.
at a future, one article.
No, the CPC article.
The CPC article.
Be clear.
At $25,000 and then have the FinCom take a vote on the merits of it, and if you oppose it, that's fine, but at least we're talking about, at least the process concerns are sort of,
So you're saying take the
straightened out.
$10,000 one out of the warrant?
That's what I would propose.
We'll make a motion and let's make a decision.
Or like increase the 10,000.
No.
No, there's
there's
actually
two
two in there
different-
now.
You'd have to take it
Okay.
out of the warrant.
Take it
There's
out.
two
Okay.
articles.
So,
Yeah.
Sam, as the liaison, why don't you make the motions?
I move to remove the draft warrant article that,
Can you put
awards-
it back
is
up,
is it numbered?
Rajan, then we know
For
where we're-
$10,000 from the CPC to the Conservation Trust Fund from the draft warrant.
Second.
Any further discussion? Any discussion from the floor? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. All right, we're gonna remove that article. One less recommendation you have to write. Woo-hoo.
So now, Sam, do you
All right, so now we're gonna
Well,
go
that's,
You have
to,
put the
let's
other
give
one,
Rajan time to
right?
catch
no,
up
the other
here.
one's still in there. There were two
Oh,
in
there
there.
is
So
it.
now we
I don't-
have
and
the
we don't have-
$25,000 one.
We can talk about it more if you want, but we could probably move to the next
No,
one.
Right after.
well, we
that.
should,
I don't know that it's. in
I
the
thought it was
draft.
first. I thought it was before the $10,000 one.
No, I know we have the placeholder in, but I'm not seeing it in this version.
Oh, all right.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so we're taking that one out. We're gonna bring back the $25,000 one. Is it all the same language except for the dollar amount? I thought it was in there.
It's the
John-
same
when
article
John
at
sent it to me, he said
25,000.
there was, when John sent it to me, he said there was,
I didn't see it.
just, he said numbers can be changed, so
No,
I,
no, yeah.
so in the draft warrant, it may be one article with a.
I thought they were both there.
So the
Okay.
number for the other one
No, I
No, we
only
didn't
see
number
the
them yet.
25,000. So
Right.
it's- Instead of ten, so you know what? You just took the one article that was in there out of there, what you should have done was.
I move for
It's-
reconsideration of the previous vote.
That's what I was asking.
No, I thought they were both
I
in
thought
there.
there was two
I
in
thought
there.
they were both in there.
See?
All right, well, why don't you just amend the article? So, all right, so
Do we
move
have
to
to,
reconsider,
in
like,
all seriousness,
yeah,
do we have to move for reconsideration of the previous
Yes.
vote?
yeah, let's put it back in the warrant. No, do we?
Yes.
We don't
Yes,
vote.
yes, we all
We
voted.
We just voted to take it out, so
Yeah, so we have to vote for the
Yeah.
second.
I
All
move
right,
for reconsideration of the previous vote.
is there a second? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. That's unanimous to reconsider.
I move to amend the draft warrant article from the CPC article awarding the Conservation Trust Fund $10,000 by increasing the amount to $25,000.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. That is unanimous. Okay, so we've amended it to $25,000. Now, we'll let Rajan catch up. Now we have to vote the article. Is there
Vote
any
to
further?
recommend.
Vote to
Yeah,
recommend.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I mean. We have to vote to recommend.
I
Go ahead.
move to recommend this draft article
Article as amended.
Second.
as amended.
Is there a second?
You did good.
Thank you, Wes. I didn't hear you, sorry. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? We recommend that unanimously. Okay. We got one. Okay, next.
The next article is a private sector project. By that I mean it is a piece that is held in private property. It's a beautiful piece, Schoolhouse Number 2, which for many years has served as a living classroom. What that space is, it's a museum that the community's children go into and learn directly of, but it is a piece of living history. It shows what teaching was like at a different era, and it's a beautiful, beautiful piece. The private property owners have maintained it to date entirely on their own dollar, multiple generations over. For the first time, they are coming before the town seeking public funds, that through a CPC request of $20,000 or $20,093. The Historic Society has seen fit to pledge a $5,000 match to this project, noting the value it adds to the community and the historic character.
What's everybody's thoughts?
Alec, it's $20,093. Is that because someone received a quote, or
Yes, they have received a bottom line quote for that exact value,
to do what?
to replace the windows on the historic structure.
So are they doing leaded glass again? I'm assuming they're doing historically accurate windows?
Yes, so we, in conjunction with these, using our administrative funds through the CPC, we'll actually be doing for the first time what's called third-party verification. We'll have an outside entity come in and verify that the work is done to the Secretary of Interior standards, which is a really broad term for what can be boiled down to a very finite checklist, but that takes it off of our liability and off of the property owner's liability to have a third party come in and help coach the contractor in doing it in the best ways.
And I think the benefit is where it's private property, we don't have to do prevailing wage, because that actually seems like a very fair number for windows versus if we owned the property, it'd be 3 times that.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Many communities have employed CPC back to private property owners, whether that's
That was my
an
next
individual, a
Okay.
business, a nonprofit, and in many ways that maximizes the use of the funding.
Are there any deed restrictions or anything on this property?
Yes, this property is effectively deed restricted through a tax exemption. And so because of its function as a living museum and being maintained in the way it is, it has certain tax exemptions. I will also note it is effectively landlocked. It's on a very unique parcel of land that is partially within a right-of-way.
I was gonna say, the triangle is.
Yeah, the
theirs.
future development potential of this,
Yeah.
of this land is absolutely nothing.
Okay, so in other words, if we invest in it, it's not like they can turn around and sell it or do something else with it. It is what it is, it's deed restricted, they've given us the benefit of Acton, Boxborough using it. I don't know if they let other towns come in.
They do. They
Okay.
have historically.
Yeah, I know
allowed
Acton
other
does,
towns,
but
or
okay.
other towns, yes.
All
I
right.
will also note, the CPC has moved most recently to a funding award letter model. And with this project, we have discussed moving to an outright contract model. So we would stipulate certain terms in that regard.
Can I see the CPC's vote?
Yes, it was unanimous, 8-0 at the, right there.
Okay. Oh, one abstention.
Ah,
Sam,
that's
as
right.
the liaison,
That
what are
needs
your
to be
thoughts?
corrected in here.
I move to recommend this.
Second.
Any further discussion?
My only question, and I think you answered the question, the 20,000, that's a total bill. So we're footing the whole bill of the 20,000.
No, we are footing effectively 80%. The Historic Society has put up 5,000 of their own dollars, so it's a total project.
But the
of
private
25.
homeowner is not putting up any money.
That's correct. The private homeowner sought funding and was assisted by the Historic Society.
Okay.
Any other further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? That's unanimous. Next.
Great. Jumped ahead of there for a second. We have the town hall roof replacement. So the roof has reached the end of its useful life. You'll remember I did previously ask for a letter of support, which this board did grant. This project advanced through the CPC process, received a unanimous vote. Rather than going back into it, I'll pause if you have any questions.
Sam?
I move to recommend this article.
Second.
Any further discussion? We did, so for those of you who watch this on TV or watch it later, we have discussed this at Capital Saturday, at other places. So if it seems like we're going quickly, it's because we have,
Well, in this one in
Talked about
particular, we
this.
discussed it when we decided to weigh in with the CPC with the letter, so this is.
Yeah.
Right.
this-
And
Yeah.
we've also
We're all
dis-
familiar with
Yeah.
this
And
project.
we've also
Right.
discussed this at other times,
Yep.
just
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah.
I know Mike's brought it up.
I know, I was gonna say, no, I just want to throw it out there, that if it seems like we're going too quickly and we're not being careful, we've been working on this one for a while. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? That is unanimous.
This next article is a recurring contribution to the cemetery restoration. The Cemetery Commission puts in for this. And back in 2024, on Halloween Day, actually, I had the opportunity to walk one of the spaces with the Cemetery
Did
Commission
you meet
chair.
anybody? Anybody?
No.
No?
Thankfully, no one
Oh.
followed me home.
No, that's not thankful. It's good. Yeah, I made a new
It was,
friend.
What I'll say is they do great restoration efforts, specifically on some of the more historic monuments, noting those that add character, as well as some of the other features. So, for example, if you had a stone wall destruction just through natural elements on the perimeters, that would be something that they could use the funds for, as well as, like I said, the more historic headstones that have been there for centuries.
And this is for north and south?
I believe they can use it in both, yes. They cited in their original application for
says,
north
in
and
the
south
north and south
cemeteries.
cemetery.
Yeah, so summary, yeah. So
Oh, in the summary, but not. Da, 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 for cemetery restoration, so I would imagine it's all cemeteries.
Yes,
Okay.
it was in their application, and it is reiterated in the summary of the article.
Do we still have a pet cemetery?
That's
an Ed
the first
question.
I've heard
We
of.
used to have one.
Pet cemetery?
Yeah, at the DPW, because I
Really?
used to laugh because it's underwater. But anyway, never mind. Let's not talk about it.
Not really a pet cemetery, it's where we brought roadkill.
That's a pet cemetery.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought you meant like a real pet cemetery.
All right,
Moving
let's
on.
move the,
Is there,
Wait.
Sam, what would you like to say about this one?
Correct?
recommend,
I move to recommend this draft
Second.
article.
Roadkill are people too.
Yeah. And Wes,
At least we don't eat them.
and Wes seconded.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
why do we keep
Opposed?
talking about dead
Abstain.
animals?
That is unanimous. Oh, come on, Wes, that was funny. Wes is like, I will not laugh.
The pet cemetery. Okay.
Okay, next.
So this next item, I will recommend that if you have really in-depth, thorough questions, you do seek response from the Recreation Commission. They've done a lot of work to this, so I'll only characterize that they are seeking $300,000 to make ADA upgrades to the Flare Summer to the Flare Playground, used of course during Flare Summer Playground. They've had actual study work done to demonstrate the deficiencies in the space itself. I can speak to the fact that it is inaccessible by ADA standards today. As we're doing our ADA transition plan, led by Rajan, I expect that that will once again be front and center as an area that does require improvement, and they have sought CPA funding. It's my understanding they're also seeking outside funding wherever possible.
So again, we had a lot of discussion. We had a presentation at Capitol Saturday. Sam, what say you?
Is this the last playground?
That is a question.
Are there any more playgrounds out there?
I move to recommend this article.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? That is unanimous.
All right, so we have our recurring contribution to the Boxborough Rental Assistance Program. This program is offered through the Housing Board and facilitated through the Community Services Division. They do a fantastic program by which they offset the cost to residents who are eligible because of their income level. They do income verification to this, but it offsets those costs and allows those individuals to remain in their space. They're seeking $69,000 of CPA.
This is a recurring contribution.
Yes.
I move to approve this draft article.
Second.
Any further discussion? I think it's a great program, and I think it's well-run and very much needed.
Unfortunately, it is very well needed, so.
Yeah. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. That one's unanimous.
I think that was.
So Alec, you
That
just
was
get to go
everything.
back to your other meeting now. It's not
I
like
will
you get
be
to
in
go
my
home.
office downstairs.
We won't tell
Thank you,
anybody.
everybody.
We won't tell anyone that we finished at 9:30. All right, 15 minutes, everybody. Let's see how many we can get through. Rajan, can you go back up to the first one? And the first bunch are super easy. We'll just get them out of the way so Kelly can get them all typed up and moving on. Okay, Article 1, choose town officers. Again, all right, we're gonna do the easy ones. I move to recommend Article 1 as written.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All righty. Do we usually write a recommendation for this one?
No.
Okay, next. Good, because that was on my list, so good. All right, number 2, receive reports. Again, this is just protocol. Any discussion?
You move.
What's that? Yeah, I'll move it, yeah. I move to recommend Article 2, receive reports as written.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. That's unanimous. Okay.
This is mine.
Let's see, set salaries and compensation of elected officials. This is Bob's.
The select board unanimously, well, I said unanimously, recommends these comparison rates for the elected officials. The town clerk salary has an increase which is the same percentage as the town non-union personnel. I would move to recommend this.
Okay, and we took Wes's recommendation, we cleaned it up, it's a lot easier to understand, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you, Wes, for that. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. That is 5-0-0. Okay, Bob, this is yours also, so,
Is this one?
yeah, it's personnel plan.
Personnel plan.
Probably hold off on this one because they vote tomorrow.
Oh, all
Yeah.
right, good point. Thank you, Rajan. So
Yeah.
we'll wait until we get the personnel plan's recommendation.
Yep.
Okay. Does the board want to, in the past, we've invited the personnel plan to just the personnel board to come in and just walk us through. Would you like to invite them in for our next meeting?
I think we should on this one.
Okay, can you please do that?
Yeah.
Thank you, and we'll put them early on the agenda. Okay, town operating budget, so I'll be writing a recommendation, but same thing, I think until it's actually voted, we just hold off on this, because I wouldn't know what to say. Reconsideration of town vote. So this is a citizen petition. I did write a recommendation, but as you note, I wrote unanimously / pending vote, depending on how people feel. This one is, we talked about it before, I believe.
Yep.
Basically, instead of having to ask town meeting, this just becomes part of our general bylaws. Any further discussion?
Nope. You
All
wanna
right.
move it?
Yep, I move to,
Did council look at this? Were they supposed to?
Yeah, they were. I thought they were supposed to look at this.
I thought we had asked them to.
Yes,
They have,
did.
no, we talked about having them look at this when they look at the rest of them
yeah, we're gonna send it all at once.
all together.
Oh, that's right.
But they are
that's
gonna
right.
look at
I'd
it.
be curious to hear their feedback. I don't know what concerns I might have, but I'd be curious to hear that before voting.
Do you have a specific question for town council, or just whether we're
No.
allowed to make this a general bylaw?
Advice, experience on where they've seen this elsewhere,
Sure.
I have no idea what my
Why don't we,
issue
can we give
spot,
them specific questions? Can either you email Mike with specific questions, or, because otherwise it's super broad. Hey, town council, what do you think of this one?
I think, Sam, to your point, has other towns adopted this, is really
Yeah.
good. Yeah, that's all.
Okay,
And
so
they-
that's the
They
specific.
have other clients, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's all.
All right, well, again, whatever we pay an hour, I'd rather be explicit and ask
Sure.
questions than just
Hey.
let them, and I love them to death, but pontification is unnecessary.
Yeah, so if they have other towns adopted this, that's it.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
and is there anything we should be aware of if we adopt this bylaw?
Okay.
All right, okay, well, then it's written and we can do whatever with it later. Okay, next. That would be yours, right?
Yeah, I think this is mine, yeah. I've written it, keep going.
Yeah, we can probably hold off.
Yeah, but again, wait till the
Oh,
personnel
yeah,
plan
until the
votes.
personnel plan,
Yep, okay. I forget who this one is. Can you scroll down?
Is that you?
Wes.
Oh, it's Wes's, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to hold off, Wes, or are you ready to talk about it?
Did you want to move it?
To move it, it's very straightforward.
Okay, go for it. No, you're the
I
liaison,
guess
so you
I'll
get to
move
decide.
recommend the town hall panic alarms.
Second.
Don't we have panic alarms, or are they,
We don't, they weren't working
Okay.
3 years ago.
we have them, but they don't work. I'm teasing.
I think we turned them all
Do-
in.
Yeah, turn them on,
And I
okay.
believe this is for funding for both town hall and library.
Oh, then we should amend that, because it only says town hall. Can we clarify that to make sure? Because it makes sense that library should have them too.
It says right
But
there,
it
town
doesn't
hall.
say
Yeah, town hall.
library.
Yeah, right there.
All right,
And I have a question real quick. At Bud Capital Saturday, we had it 10-8, so we rounded it up to 11, because in our model, it's still at 10-8. I don't care, it's $200, I just want to
do you happen
make
to see
sure
in
we're
your
right.
notes if it says library or not?
I remember that, it says townwide, but I remember Capital
Oh,
Saturday.
townwide.
Yes, townwide, and I remember Capital Saturday, it was for town hall and the library. My question is, so it's 11,000?
Yeah.
Because we had it, I want to make sure it gets changed on our model.
Why don't
Let me
we,
check with Ed Kukla on that.
All right.
I thought I remembered seeing,
Well, town-wide is different than just town hall and library.
That's
yeah,
right.
and that's all
why.
it is town hall and library.
Yeah, it was just under the
But
Are you
category.
sure that's enough?
Library
Because
is
my
not
thing is it is enough
positive.
money for both of those
Yeah,
locations.
but like library is not listed though, Mike.
Well, why don't,
But
well,
it
we can add it
was,
right
it
now.
was
We can add
presented
it.
that way
Yeah.
at Capital Saturday.
Yeah, you can change that right now to town hall and library.
As long as you're
And
sure that's
we'll-
enough
and
money.
we'll confirm the dollar amount.
Yeah, I mean, it's only $200, I just want to make sure,
The quote, the initial quote I saw on these was 5,000 for town hall and 5,500 for library. I mean, it was 5,800.
and we did, right, and we did 10-8 on
Yeah.
Capital
I
Saturday.
thought it was,
Okay.
I thought it was 10,8. I thought
Yep.
it was 5,800 for library.
So you'll maybe let us know tomorrow night?
5,000. Yeah.
All right, so I got that marked down too.
How do you want to handle it, Wes? Do you want to just go ahead and vote it, or?
Yeah.
As amended,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
You want to move your motion as?
Move to recommend this as amended.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All righty.
Next is yours too.
Perfect. Are you okay with adding and the library to
Yeah.
your recommendation?
That's
Thank you.
fine.
Awesome.
Yeah, so then I think the next one is the road, so it's like I move to I move to recommend the road paving article.
Oh, I thought this was mine.
Yeah.
No, I did all DPW.
Oh, well, okay, good. That's good, go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
Again, for anybody watching, we had a presentation, and you can watch it on the Capital Saturday recording if you're curious about it, but we have kind of already discussed this, so. All right, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Yep.
Abstain? All right, that's 500.
And then I'll move to recommend the two compactor warrant article.
Second.
Same, Ed provided a presentation, we discussed this at Capital Saturday. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? That is unanimous.
Underground fuel.
Then, yep, so then I'll move to recommend the underground fuel tank removal article.
Second.
Same as before. Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Perfect.
And then I'll move to recommend the closed completed articles to general warrant article.
Wait. did
Where's
you-
that? Wait, I missed it.
What's,
Oh,
No, I
what's
didn't
this
see
one?
that one.
Oh, the
No,
H-
no. Next
The
is,
big
yeah, you have a break and now it's Sam's.
oh.
The museum, Boxborough Museum.
Wes thought we were done?
I was going through what I had in my record.
No. Yeah.
all right,
The
Sam, go
All
ahead.
right.
next one is yours, Boxborough HVAC.
HVAC?
Yeah, HVAC.
Are you ready for this one, or do you need more time?
This was mine, eh? Yes,
Yeah.
it
Well,
was.
that's
That's
okay.
Sam on it.
We're coming back on the 23rd. It's okay if you need more time for this one.
I haven't written it, so I won't move it. How
Okay.
about that?
Okay, next.
Next is the fingerprint machine. That's you, Kristen.
Yep, that's mine. Okay, so, again, we had the presentation on Capital Saturday, and again, I wrote that we
Yeah.
recommend approval of the article. I mean, it's essential. You know, we need to have our fingerprint machines.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? And then, unfortunately, on all of my recommendations, you're gonna have to fix that.
He's doing it right now.
Rajan. The other thing I'm gonna suggest is if we skip an article, that you just, we'll give Rajan time to highlight it, so it'll be a lot easier to see what we skipped and what we have to vote. So let's give you a second to just highlight it. Thank you. Okay. All right, we just did that one.
Police command vehicle.
Yep, same thing. We had the presentation at Capitol Saturday. I move to recommend the police department, police command vehicle expenditure.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. So that'd be unanimous.
Police department flooring.
Yep. All I can say is if anybody's seen that flooring, it's a pretty easy one. It's nasty. So I move to recommend the police department flooring replacement.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain. All right. I was so careful to do that, I didn't want you guys to think I was steering you.
I just talked to it.
All right, academy training and coverage contingency, we've talked about this in years past, we
Bless
talked
you.
about it at Capitol Saturday. I move to recommend police department. You moved, I couldn't read it fast enough for John.
Right here, no, you haven't.
Academy training and coverage contingency.
Second,
Any further discussion or questions?
could you just go down to the, down below? Keep going, keep going. What, Kristen, is this you, this article?
That's mine, yeah, that's what I wrote. It's
This
just,
is-
I always use spaces, I don't like it when it's too tight.
But that's where it says this article is the set aside, is that all
Yep.
you? Okay.
Yep.
That's fine, yep.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is this just for the police? Do we have also one for the fire?
Yes.
Yeah, we do, we have two of them. Isn't
And
there
this-
60,000 in the fire one, right?
There was already money in the fire one.
Oh, so we don't need to add to it?
Correct.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you.
Was there a second?
A second.
Bob? Okay.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All right, that one's unanimous.
Next is mine.
Okay. All right, fire department, Priya's turn.
Yep. I move to recommend the fire department personal protective equipment.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Abstain? And that's unanimous. I will say, is anybody watching Zoom? Because we can't see anybody. If there is a hand up.
It would show on
I
the
don't
screen
think
over
anyone's-
there.
Oh, you can see it. Okay, are we the only ones here?
Well,
Okay.
there's other people's here, just.
Okay.
one's hand.
Thank you. I just want to make sure if anybody did have questions or comments, they had the opportunity. All right, Priya, this one's yours.
Yep, next is, I move to recommend the fire department cistern inspection and repairs.
Second, wait, Wes got it.
Wes got it. Wes scooped ya. All right, any further discussion, questions, or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, we're done. With that one, I mean.
Next one is mine too. I move to recommend the fire department AEDs and life-saving equipment.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Aye.
Abs-
Sorry, not opposed.
Wait a minute.
Late on that one, it's too late,
Wes, you
guys. I'm like,
smiled.
approving, sorry.
Awesome, okay, so, all right, let's just do it one more time. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? That's unanimous.
Can I make one suggestion?
Yes.
That indicates it's for the fire department, but it's actually townwide. So maybe in the summary, did it say that? I'm trying to read it from here and my eyes are like, because see on the top, it says life-saving equipment for the fire department and public safety.
And public
the
safety
other
use.
use, but it's actually for all the municipal buildings and the fire.
That's true, that is townwide for all.
Yeah, it's
public
the-
safety
it's the-
vehicles,
right.
townwide
Well, can we
vehicles.
just say for townwide public safety use and call it a day?
And municipal buildings, so it's not,
Well,
it's,
townwide is municipal.
yeah, well,
Well, townwide and, I don't
and,
care.
and
Yeah.
public safety use, kind
Yeah.
of, something,
Yeah.
just to clarify, because
Townwide.
it's a lot for just the
And.
fire station.
and
There you go.
public safety use. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, perfect, thank you. Yeah, townwide is 2 words, I think. Or hyphen, your choice. What? My mother was an editor. All right, next.
Okay. Next one's mine. I move to recommend the fire department self-contained breathing apparatus.
Second.
Any further discussion? Questions, comments, anything? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Abstain? That one's unanimous. All right, kids, it is 9:45. Why don't we finish fire department? If we want to keep going and just finish it up, we can, or we'll pick it up on the 23rd.
We'll finish fire.
All right, let's finish fire.
I move to recommend the fire department mobile and portable radios.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? And that is unanimous. Priya, this one's yours.
Yep. I move to recommend the fire department mobile computers, primary engine, and ambulance.
Second.
Awesome. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? That's unanimous.
Then I move to recommend the fire department first use scheduling and payroll software.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? And that one's unanimous.
And then the last one, emergency management. Did I do the summary for that one?
Is this one yours, Priya?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, I don't remember if I did the summary for that one.
You did something.
Did I? Oh,
Something's
okay,
in there.
all right. Okay. I wasn't sure if I did, okay. I move to recommend the emergency management article.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. Okay, so maybe put a little, oh wait, no, that's IT. All right, so why don't we do something so we know that's where we pick up, whether you highlight it or not, and we'll, at the next meeting, we'll start with the one that was up above, and then we'll keep going. And at the next meeting, perfect. And at the next meeting, we're also gonna have to decide if we wanna weigh in on any of the planning board articles that have an economic impact or otherwise. So, okay, let's, all right, hold on, I need my glasses. I move to enter into executive session pursuant to MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, specifically the land use and permitting director, and that the board will reconvene in open session, with the chair noting that discussion in open session may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the town. Okay.
I second it.
We are gonna reconvene?
Don't we usually say something about,
And
We're not
reconvene.
going to reconvene.
Yeah, I don't think, Kristen, because we put it at the end of the agenda.
oh, right, thank
You
you. I
gotta
was like,
change
did
the
we
motion
usually
to
say
not-
that?
to not
Okay,
reconvene.
well, if no one has seconded
Unless
yet,
you want to make a vote, because otherwise you have to make the,
Well,
if you
don't
vote
have
any
to
changes.
any-
What's that?
You don't, if it's a contract, you can vote it in executive session.
Personal contracts, I think we got to vote in open session, right?
Well, why don't we vote it tonight in executive session, and then the next time we meet on the 23rd, we'll tell what we did in executive session. Does that work?
I don't
Actually,
mind,
no,
I
that's-
just,
Huh?
That's right.
Do you recall?
Are we allowed to do that?
No, no,
I
that's,
don't
I
think
think
it's
that's right.
posted.
No,
Is it posted?
no, we don't have
For
it
vote?
posted to vote on the, to vote. So there's no notice to vote, there's just a notice for executive session.
Okay,
Okay.
got it.
all right, then we will not reconvene in open
you
session.
should just remake the motion.
All right, let me
with the
read it
non-
again.
yeah.
I move, thank you. I move to enter into executive session pursuant to MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, specifically the land use and permitting director, and that the board will not reconvene in open session.
Second.
All right, roll call vote. Anderson?
Aye.
Sundaram?
Aye.
Folks?
Folks,
Stemple, aye.
And Hilberg, aye. Excellent. All right. Are we-
Thank you.